In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of Paz and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello, and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and it's called Best Gen because all of us on the panel are más o menos from the same generation, and we happen to think that it's the best one, not because we're better than you, but our movies certainly were. So strap on in and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore while simultaneously complaining about the utter filth that Hollywood keeps pumping constantly out of its drainage system on a daily basis. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great.
We
Just
got
chilling.
we got Bearded back on the show, which means someone lost a bet. I can't remember what the terms and conditions were. David didn't forget. He just texted me saying, "Nah, bro, I'm good." No, he's got something going on. I just got a text from Jared.
Well,
He's finishing dinner with his wife, and then he'll be on later. So it'll be a nice, cozy 4. And if the angry Mexa shows up when he dang well pleases, and,
right?
it'll always be entertaining when he does. So,
Absolutely.
Charles has got a new microphone, so we don't hear that incessant buzzing going on in the background.
At least not from him.
That's true.
Yeah, and I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so great. Definitely, it's been a wonderful week. I've been super busy. I've been camping all week. I almost got heat stroke. Definitely got heat exhaustion, so I've been recovering from that. It wasn't my fault. It was a noble self-sacrifice. It wasn't due to my own incompetence.
Of course not.
So
What happened?
So we went to Goblin Valley
Valley.
with some young men from my church. That's my calling or responsibility in the church, is to teach the young men, and we go on campouts sometimes. And our church used to be heavily involved in the Boy Scouts of America program, but we severed ties because they're woke and disgusting now, and they don't share the same values that our church does. So we don't do Boy Scouts anymore, and unfortunately, that also, I like that we separated, but also it used to be a good program that would teach lots of good outdoor skills, and so a lot of this newer generation don't have the same street smarts or wilderness smarts,
Yeah.
And so I
Streets is the right term.
I take it upon myself as my a bonus responsibility to teach some of the things I learned from scouting, because I learned a lot of really, really good things, and so we get there. It's
a few of those good things,
it's a beautiful location. It's in the middle of the desert. It is a desert location, It is the hottest week that we've had here in Utah all summer. It's the longest day. Yesterday, right? Was it yesterday solstice?
Might be today.
Maybe 2 days ago. Sorry, I don't worship pagan gods. I don't keep track of the solstice. I only,
It was yesterday.
we do our sacrifices on a different day. So, what was the point? So it was really hot. So I sat them all down when we first got there and literally gave like a 30-minute lecture on the dangers of heat stroke and heat exhaustion and all this stuff. And it was going really good. And like, hey, the first thing we're going to do while we all have energy is we're going to do the hike, right? And then the rest of the time we're there, it'll be less, we're going to now when we, right. Use your energy when you have it. Literally for 30 minutes I drilled into these boys like it's really cool here. It's dangerous. Okay? There is no shade. You're in constant sun. The only shade we have is like our campground has a pavilion. So make sure you're wearing sunscreen, wear hats, like go jump in the shower with your clothes on and get your clothes wet, and the evaporative cooling will help cool your body down too. So I go over like the symptoms and the dangers and like what can happen if your body goes into heat exhaustion / heat stroke, because it's the same thing really. It's just a matter of severity. It's a spectrum,
Yeah.
It's a sliding scale. And I'm like, okay, so now that I've scared you stupid, we're going on a 3-hour hike up some slot canyons. Make sure you bring your water because you're going to need it. And then an hour and a half. Look, they gave him the talk right before we did this. An hour and a half into the hike, 4 of the boys chime in and like, did anyone else bring water? Because I'm really thirsty.
See, I've been that young man, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, that's
And it wasn't just like
dumb.
like we drove from our campsite to the trail head. It's like a 10-minute drive, and it wasn't that like, oh, they brought their water but then they left it in the car. No, like they just didn't listen to me for 30 minutes. So
Again, not surprising, really.
out of the goodness of my heart, and because I'm such a good person, I gave the boys all of my water, and so did
You're the leader in there.
so did one of the other leaders, and so they made it back safely, and I completely dehydrated myself. And it's I've had heat exhaustion many a time. I've never had heat stroke. I've had friends who've gotten it on campouts. I had a friend who moved from the East Coast to New Mexico, where I grew up, and then we went on a camp out, and he just like didn't know you had to drink water here. Ruined our week-long camp trip because he was just throwing up the whole time. But yeah, he was in like actual heat stroke, and it's scary. It's terrifying. It's a very, very deadly thing.
This came with my ID badge at the post office because it's such a huge problem.
Oh yeah, imagine driving around in the delivery cars.
They don't have AC in those, especially the older delivery vans, the LLVs and the FFVs. There's no AC. The best they've got is a little dash-mounted fan that you can turn on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they're like they don't have doors, right? So AC would be.
Slide the door open. It does have a door that opens and closes. Yep.
Anyway, so the point of the story is that I'm basically, akin to Jesus Christ because I sacrificed myself for. I mean, okay, not quite as good. Not quite as good.
Now,
Okay,
hang on a
not
second.
quite
Though.
as good.
If you were going to go there, you would have turned that water into wine for them and gotten them.
Oh, that's true.
No, that's a bad one. No, never mind. Don't do that.
I was trying to walk on water the whole time I was there, but we didn't have any.
Yeah.
No, so
dumb.
yeah, so I got pretty messed up. One of the other leaders gave up his water too and was not in good shape, and so we just took the rest of the week easy, and It was fun though. They learned some lessons at my expense.
And you learned to not expect them to actually listen to you,
So-
because that's the thing. I've been a leader on some of those trips. Usually not like the prime leader and all that, but you get to the point where you realize you have to pack your water and at least 3 other people's water when you're the leader.
yeah, I should have taken more water than I did.
Yep.
Too.
I mean, you brought enough for yourself, but not enough for the kids that aren't
Yeah.
going to. Yeah.
I'm also, and this is my fault too. I'm significantly out of shape. Much more so.
Certainly doesn't help.
I was in good shape when I was a kid. So it was also hard because I can't walk as good. So,
Yeah, that'll do.
but
it.
I've made lots of changes. And
Yeah,
I'm trying to get healthy.
Last couple of weeks, because I was working for the past 7 months at the post office, and not exactly the most like I didn't. I lost some weight, but I didn't get in shape. You're still driving and sitting a lot, but you are also climbing in and out of the vehicle, so you're getting movement going on. But then I just took this job at an undisclosed location, and I can neither confirm nor deny whether it's for the government. But sitting at a desk more now, and so I've been trying to make it to do workouts and stuff like that. Went to a group that was playing volleyball, and just 2 hours of trying to do some volleyball stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm so sore already. What's going on here? The next week I tried to go swimming, did a 300. I was on the swim team in high school, so I could swim. I used to do the 500s all the time.
Yeah.
But
I did the mile swim.
Yeah, I've done the mile swim at least a couple of times up at scout camp. And yeah, but I got in the pool and did 3 laps, and I was like, oh, I am tired. This was a couple of years ago before I started working at the post office, but I went skiing for the first time in a handful of years. And I'm like, this shouldn't be a workout. I'm just strapping pieces of wood on my feet and sliding down the mountain. That's not work. It's never been work, ever. No, yeah. I would take 2 turns and then why am I out of breath? So I feel you there with the difference between when you were young and when you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Brace
anyway.
yourself. Yeah, I feel you.
So it's been a tough week. I'm just exhausted. So, but it's good. We got a good show. We've got Murderbot to talk about. We've got Foundation. Charles, did you watch Foundation?
So I watched the first episode,
Okay.
and I found it kind of interesting, but then you said it was awful, so I figured.
Well, no, I didn't say awful. I said it was frustrating.
Okay, you said it was nothing
I
like
watched the
book.
first.
Term you've
I
got.
watched the first 3 episodes of season 1, and we'll get into my problems. We'll definitely have to wait till Jared gets on because I'm pretty sure he just finished season 1 this week. Someone was already on episode 9 when I started the series. So
Sounds like you.
I'm just going to go ahead and chalk that one up to Jared. It was a riveting story about your descent into madness or whatever it was. The burrito I was eating was delicious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I was saying back to heat stroke real quick. I've had heat exhaustion all the time, just it's or minor heat exhaustion. It's easy. You sleep it off. You're fine. But this is the worst it had ever gotten. I'd never gotten to the stage of the progression where you're about to vomit.
Mm.
I'd never gotten nauseous from it before.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get headaches and headaches and stuff. But I was right there. I was right on the brink of
what you were really doing.
Full on heat stroke.
What you were really doing was demonstrating to the young man, "Hey, this is what happens."
I was
now you know the signs and symptoms.
Not everyone's an audible. Some people are visual learners.
Yeah,
so I was just trying to
interaction.
They're great kids.
So self-sacrificing.
They're great kids. They're just dumb, but
They're kids.
Who isn't? So
Mm-hmm.
it was just so I was good. Did anybody bring water? Come
good.
on.
That's
Okay.
really good.
Yeah. So we got Foundation, Murderbot. We got some news and some nerd news. And did you watch 2 movies today, Bearded?
2 of them today. Yep. A couple weeks ago, I went to the theater and watched 4 in one day because I've got the Regal Pass, and so the tickets are all free.
Yeah.
So I get a chance to do something like that.
You watched Elio, and what was the first one you watched?
Ballerina. was the other one.
Oh, Ballerina.
John Wick. Yeah. Not bad. So
Give us your updates since we
so
can't
Ballerina was a John Wick movie, and I think they did.
Looks good. I think it looks pretty good.
They did a good job too. I had heard different things going in that it was like really more a John Wick movie than anything, and there was a lot of John Wick in it. No, it was about as much as you would expect. Hey, this is a movie in the John Wick universe. They're going to reference him. He's going to show up. He doesn't play a nothing part in it, but he does show up for you little bits there.
Well, and they clearly build this as this is a spin-off. John Wick's going to show up, but like the movie's not about him.
Right. And
this wasn't a bait and switch.
Yeah. They did a good job telling another story, decent story. I mean, it's the kind of story you get from a John Wick movie. So, I mean, is story really what you're going for? No. And the kind of story you're going for.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of feel like that's what they think we're there for. And you're like, I love the first movie was just about the killing.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, 3, and 4 are just like, oh, the story? That's what you liked about you wanted more story?
Well,
I'm like, not really. I'm like, it's not bad, but that's not why we were here. Like,
true. Although they never focus so much more on the story that the like guns and action are missing. And so same thing here. We're like,
So that's how you do it. If you don't go ahead and add the story, when it's not at the cost of the action. And when it's not at the cost of what the people are there to see.
If
they're there for the story, don't focus on the action at the cost of the story.
The world building is very goofy. It's very goofy. Unreal. It's very silly. And but it's not terrible. But that's why I think that the first movie is the best one because it just barely grazes the world building and it's more believable.
I actually kind of liked the second one on the same level of like, hey, you're getting a little bit more about this world before it got too goofy. 3 and 4 just go like, hey, this could really exist, and you're like, just in the last 4 movies. John Wick has killed so many assassins, so many people.
How does the world still exist? Like, is everyone on the planet an assassin? And if so, then what's the point of this entire organization? If everyone's an assassin, then no one is. It's just
you see that they're constantly putting out hits on other assassins that like putting out hits on. Like
there is no benefit to becoming an assassin in this universe. It's
now you're just on the list of people. You've got rules now that you have to follow. So, but I think this one like fits right in there. It's good. I think one of the things that I know like our audience would care a lot about is they don't make it a like look at how strong this woman is in spite against men or whatever. No, like she does not. She does well because she is a trained assassin. But they also like they do a good job of like they have a couple of things where they address the fact that you will be physically weaker than a lot of your opponents. Use your advantages to be able to win these fights, and that's kind of a little aspect of it. There is small spoiler. There's a bit where she does confront John Wick and they have a little bit of a fight, and
that's spoiled in the trailer. Okay, they have a little sparring.
He clearly like is just miles above her in skill, and so they don't try to sit there and be like,
he's also like twice as tall,
do better than the guy that you vote. But they also still make her a very strong, capable, and likable as much as anyone is really truly likable in these show movies. So it was good. It was. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the John Wick series, but I think it's good. It fits right in with the rest of them. So that's my ringing endorsement, if you will.
I really liked the newest one. I loved the first one. 2 and 3 were just kind of okay, but 4 was like, this is really good. I really liked 4.
The action in 4 was particularly good, and they had some good stuff with that. But 3 was interesting with the whole. I think that was the one that had
3 is easily the worst. 3 is the worst one.
High table, and it's kind of a little bit more.
Also, the action in 3 got really stale and repetitive. Like it's specifically the scene with Halle Berry and her dogs. They used the same move combo just 30 times. That's the entire fight. Is hey, there's a guy. I'm pinned down. Dog, bite him. Pop up, shoot him. oh no, I'm pinned down. Dog, bite him. Pop up, shoot. It's like it was just it was dumb.
But I mean, this one you'll get a little bit more of that. Again, she's not nearly as effective or efficient as John Wick. It comes to bite her a handful of times, but still she's a trained assassin. Does decent job. So yeah, it was good.
Hey, she can Anna my Armas any day. So
yeah, sure.
I don't know why I haven't seen it yet. I was
it just came out last week, so it's not been in too long. But
I'm planning on watching it. It's just not a priority.
I didn't watch it, but I did watch Abilio's video on it, and I think.
Oh, you watched Abilio
towards it? Yeah.
He was what, negative? Let me guess. He didn't like it. Who could have foreseen? Who could have foreseen Albelio hates fun?
What?
He hates women. No.
He hates women.
Obviously.
Oh, I love Albelio.
He did mention that yes, they tell her that she's going to have a disadvantage, but then 5 minutes later, she apparently just destroys a group of men completely unrealistically. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
So they don't really continue to show it super well, but they do at least acknowledge it. And what the scene kind of addresses is the idea that like you will be at a physical disadvantage, so cheat and use whatever you have to your advantage for it. And so she then immediately starts kicking the guys in the crotch, and it's not something that's like cool. That was great. It was like that was rough, but it's like that makes sense. That's what she would need to do. And then they don't really address it too much more going forward. Although I don't think that I don't think that they then still show her actually being able to physically overpower guys in a way that would be more unrealistic than these already are.
Fair enough.
She uses weapons from time to time. There's a couple of like a little bit more goofy, but still enjoyable. Like, hey, you're here for the like kind of crazy action scenes that she does, and she uses that a little bit more. And again, I think that they do. For me, I was watching a lot, and I'm like, yeah, this was her making a mistake here. She made a mistake here. Here's a spot, but she's able to recover from it relatively successfully. Because I mean, again, they're throwing goons against her. I mean, trained assassins, but everyone except for our stars are going to be goons, even though they're trained assassins. So I can kind of see where he's coming from with that, but to me, I feel like they did the bare minimum necessary to get that across. That like, yeah, she's not physically capable of beating these guys just on physicality alone, but she does beat them anyway. So
well, if
they
need help,
and they don't undercut to me, they didn't undercut it by then saying, see, now I've overcome and I can physically take them on,
Did you guys know that the inventor of the Segway died riding a Segway?
It's a great segue.
Speaking of Segways, if you need assistance, if you're a weak, helpless, pathetic woman and you need assistance taking out your male counterpart assassins, just become a channel member. You can become technically a Mexican, and then on top of hitting a woman, they'll also be hitting a POC, and that they can get canceled for that. So it's just 99 cents. And Mark Clark has been a channel member for 32 months. That's a year and a half, right? It's 24. What's 24 minus? It's over. It's over a year and a half.
Yeah, it's a year and 8 months.
Year and a half and 2 months.
Yeah. Sounds right. No, two years. Because it's 24 months is 2 years. 12
months a year. 24 is 2 years. That's what I meant. Sorry, 2.
Yeah.
Yes. I meant to say 2 years. 2 years and a half a year and 2 months.
There you go. Most efficient way to say that.
Thanks for the correction. Mark Clark's great. Yep. And Jared just joined. Hold on, let me pull up this boy.
Hey,
and then we gotta see here. Mark Clark's in the chat. Not Mark Clark. I just said Mark Clark. Jacob Ironside's in the cloud. Evening on my phone because your new house has no internet. Well, you got to get it ready because you're talking about Quigley Down Under.
Ooh,
next week, and that's like one of the greatest movies ever.
Seriously.
So.
Yeah.
It's your popcorn talk, I think. Yeah, I think that's the name of your show. Popcorn talk, right?
Maybe.
I love Quigley Down Under, so looking forward to that discussion on that one. Jared loves that movie too.
Absolutely. It's so good. It's totally underrated.
Yeah, Jared, you missed me a couple weeks ago. This is not my first reappearance. So,
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
I should be on a little bit more frequently than I was for some. I wasn't even here and got booted off the thumbnail.
Okay,
But-
now that Jared is here, though, we can.
Sucker!
Now that Jared's here, though, we can confirm. It was you that watched all of Foundation Season 1, right? Okay.
I'm
so
still working on it. I've got like 3 episodes.
I just know I pulled it up to watch. I was like, oh, I'll watch the first episode, and it's like, continue with episode 9. It's like,
I'm getting close. No, but I had already started though, so I was just getting back into it. I was on like episode 3, so I started on episode 4.
ooh, oh, Mark.
Oh, Magnum's a good one too.
This is a bad. The only thing you've ever liked Tom Selleck in is Magnum. I mean, he's good in Magnum, okay, but Quigley Down Under is a masterpiece. And
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it, let me make sure. It's Her Alibi is one of the greatest comedies of all time.
I remember that one.
That is Tom Selleck, right? Yes.
Quigley Down Under. I don't think I have seen it.
I don't know if
Oh
I've
look!
seen any.
Oh look! It's you can watch it on the internet for free on Tubi right now.
That's a good sign that it is
Wait,
quality.
Quigley
Right?
Down Under or
Her Alibi.
Her Alibi?
Her Alibi is
Oh yeah,
hilarious. And Mark, you are a buzzkill. It's so funny.
I believe the term you were looking for is dead to you.
Dead, you're dead to me.
He is dead to you.
I love Tom Selleck, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen Tom Selleck in a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously, I know who he is. I'm trying to think of like things that I've actually seen him in, and like probably Friends is one of the few things I don't know. I'd have to look.
Okay,
3.
I was
Men
about
and a
to
Baby?
I was about to fight you on this because I love the Buffy movie, but then I remembered I haven't seen it since I was like 12. So I'm sure the Buffy movie is horrible. It's
Yeah,
probably
not great,
horrible, but I loved it when I was a kid. Okay. Fadeon is okay. You're going to ask this week. Any more progression getting through the Salty Roars? Yeah. I watched episode 2. I've been gone all week. I've been camping without internet access, so this summer is busy. But Salty Roast makes fun of Wheel Time, and so you got to respect him for it. So we can plug him every week. You can keep asking. Don't feel shamed into not asking anymore. Sorry, I interrupted you saying something, didn't I?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I think I was just saying that I don't think I've actually seen Tom Selleck in anything except maybe Friends. I mean, I know who he is, but I
Oh,
haven't
he
seen
was in Friends.
I mean, yeah. So that like
Forgot
that
about that.
kind of counts because technically I'm seeing him acting on something, but like that's not a Tom Selleck thing. He's there, you know.
I think I remember watching parts of Her Alibi, and it looked hilarious, and I want to go back and watch it.
I've never seen that one.
Ooh,
That's
I would
good.
I would have to rewatch it. It's been like 5 years since I've seen the movie. I just love it. But I'll let you know. Yeah, Mark Clark got approved for Wave 3 of Dragonsteel, and I didn't.
Ooh.
And I still have not heard back from my press pass or my application to be a panelist because they rejected my booth. You guys have been they didn't give a reason. They said nope, no booth, and I'm like,
It's because they
not getting a booth.
saw you criticizing Brandon
It
Sanderson.
was the same week I had a kind of a hit piece on Sanderson.
What?
Oh no! I tweeted out that week that I hated Wind and Truth, and it was like the day after that tweet I got an email saying I wasn't invited to Dragons. Correlation, maybe causation. We do not know.
I will say I finally finished Rhythm of War and have started on Wind and Truth, so I'm in day 2 right now.
I haven't finished that one yet. Still.
Well, Coming along. But
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna finish Wind of Truth.
like
I'm
ever.
gonna remember where I am. I don't think so. If it's bad, I don't know.
I mean, it's still only the halfway point, but
Okay.
Hey, you gotta decide for yourself, Charles.
yeah.
Jared, you also
Maybe I do.
watched Elio, and I've
Yes.
only heard people reacting on X,
Uh-huh.
and the only reactions I've seen are all incredibly negative about Elio. But I haven't talked to anyone in person, except
Yeah.
my friend, the other leader on the camping trip I went on, who is a theater manager, and he's like, it's it's not going to do very good.
Yeah, I did see something about it's tracking at only like 30,000 or something like that. I think that's what or whatever.
Oh, I could pull up numbers, sure.
Whatever it was, but so my reaction to it is it's fine. It's not Pixar's best. It has some good sweet messaging in there about the kid thinks he's not wanted and him coming to kind of understand that it doesn't quite pack the punch or really like it doesn't mesh quite as well. It's almost like they were like, well, we want to have this fun adventure and here's a good message we can kind of weave into it. It just didn't finish meshing together where it really set and made it work. It wasn't bad. Like to me, I was putting it on the level. So a lot of people really loved Inside Out 2. And for me, Inside Out 2
Still haven't seen it.
Fine. It was okay.
Because I hated the first one, but that's my problem.
Yeah, I liked the first one a lot better than I liked the second one. A lot of people really liked the depiction of anxiety in and Out 2 and felt like that was just so impactful or whatever. And I could see that, but it didn't necessarily work for me. Same thing with another one that I've heard a lot of people that did really like it. Not that everyone did, but that there were a lot of people that really liked it was Soul. And I can understand that for some people they really liked it, but for me it was good. It wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it. I didn't have much of a problem with it. So I put this kind of on that level of like I have no issues with it.
You don't hate it, but it's just not memorable. You're not going back to it.
I did like Soul, so I'm one of those people, and for me it was memorable. Like I think it was a good, genuine,
the
solid
only
product.
The redeeming quality of Soul is the art direction, which is fantastic, and the story is really stupid.
So this
You
is
think? I thought the story was all right.
They set up a really cool story, and then instead of focusing on that, the entire movie is spent on "Oops, I'm in a cat."
That's a very small section of the movie.
That's the whole movie.
No, it's not.
I mean,
there's a chunk of it, but that's
Oops,
not
I'm
the
in
whole
a
movie.
cat.
It's a solid chunk of it, and the
Sorry, cats don't have pinkies, so to put like the whole. Did I do that?
So to me, it falls around in that level. Also, if you saw Win or Lose, like it was good. Like nothing. It didn't hit top tier Pixar, which again, like it's Pixar. None of their stuff has been crap, but it's lower tier.
The Good Dinosaur
means it's good. Like I'd even put it.
I haven't seen it, so I don't. I just
I'd probably put it above Good Dinosaur. I didn't mind Good Dinosaur either, but it's definitely not one of those ones where you remember like, oh, these great things from Pixar. At least that's my takeaway from it. I do think that it could hit home for a lot of people because it's got this kid who feels like he's unwanted and doesn't belong, and coming. I'm
trying to remember. I think it was Film Threat who said Elio is worse than Wish. So
I wouldn't. No, because again, the parts that don't quite connect aren't as egregious as the parts that don't connect with what they were trying to do from Wish. With Wish, it was just like, it was frustrating how poorly they did at connecting those and the jump that they made without the connection. With this one, it was like, okay, it's there. I haven't watched Primo, so no clue. It doesn't really dive into too much cultural stuff in a way that like Primo's was trying to do and apparently really massively failed at from the little bit that I've heard. So
it's bad.
Yeah.
So what Elio did, they accidentally made a movie that was racist against aliens.
No, I can't think of anything that was particularly racist against aliens or anything like that.
Elio in Martian actually, it translates to a horrible insult.
Horrible.
So,
really?
Yeah.
You're pretty fluent in Martian?
Yes.
If you've even been slightly interested by the trailers of Elio, I'd say definitely go check it out. If you're not interested, then check it out later. It's not going to be like, I don't think there's anything that's going to feel like you can't show it to your kids or your kids aren't going to enjoy it. Kids might have fun with the like flashy.
I don't know. I regret taking my kids to see Lilo and Stitch. I think it teaches a bad message, and it's going to be a long time before I see a Disney movie.
Totally fair. I don't think it goes there. In fact, I would say it actually kind of teaches the opposite lesson. Especially from the discussion
if it does, then that's a shame, because I like good Disney movies, and I don't trust them.
Yeah, like I said, I do think that if anything, it teaches the opposite message of what the live action, what you were taking out of the live action Disney Plus Disney remake of Lilo and Stitch. I think that this teaches the opposite lesson of that. If you look at it in that frame, again,
sure,
we had the whole discussion a couple weeks ago where I didn't really think it as bad that way or anything, but it definitely was better, in those terms. So
right, let's see.
That's kind of all my thoughts on Elio.
Inside Out. Let's see. What day of the week was June 13th, 2024? Was that Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
2024 it would have been a Saturday.
13th, 14th,
June 13th
of 2024.
Thursday. It's a Thursday.
It was a Thursday. Yes, we had.
Okay, so just for reference, I just pulled up. I don't know why I'm just reading this off to you. So we only have small numbers for Elio right now, but June 13th for this is Inside Out, which did really well, almost 2.5 million. Sorry, I why did I say 1.5 million? Mixing up my ones and my twos tonight.
1.5.
This is a
1.5. Like
Thursday.
I was saying, it's Thursday previews.
Thursday night preview was 13 million, and then Friday was 60 million. That's really good
For Inside Out, yeah.
for Inside Out 2. And then Elio, the next Pixar movie, got a 3 million preview and 9 million.
I'll also say, like,
Friday. So they don't have today's numbers yet.
They have not pushed the marketing on this one much at all. Like
I've seen trailers
I've
everywhere.
seen a lot of it.
I've seen
I didn't know this was a
maybe
thing.
not in California because they're we don't need to sell this movie to Jared. He's gonna he watched Ahsoka all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you've seen a lot of it, then that's fresh to me because like I've seen.
I didn't even share my screen. I pulled it up.
To share the screen.
I don't know you were sharing your screen.
I moved it down into the screen that I was sharing, and then forgot to share the shared screen.
Oh man, that's a different kind of movie than
so Elio got 3 million, 9 million, and then Inside Out Thursday preview 13 million, 16.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and I don't expect it to. I mean,
although Inside Out is a pretty, so if maybe another.
And coming off of Inside Out 1 that a lot of people really, really liked as well.
You can't compare it to Elemental because that was during the pandemic, right? Well, kind of.
I mean, that was
kind of post-pandemic. It didn't perform well either, though.
It didn't start out well, although it gained traction. I really liked it. It wasn't perfect, but I can't think of a whole lot that I disliked about Elemental.
Similar numbers to Elemental.
It is similar, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's one of those things that maybe it catches some...
Which massively overperformed, you're right.
Yeah.
Started off normal and then kicked off.
It may catch some legs in a similar way as Elemental did. It kind of just depends on how well it hits. Like, if there are people who really feel like, hey, this hit me with the message, it could take off. Because, like I said, I think Elemental... There wasn't a lot of as much marketing push for it as some of their other ones. And, like, it didn't... The trailers didn't do a great job showing what it was about, like the kind of messaging that would be in it, and so it kind of had to deal with like catching its like word of mouth and getting links that way. And I think that Elio could probably fall in the same vein.
Had a slightly smaller budget than Elemental and Inside Out 2.
I'm not overly hopeful, I'm not overly like thinking that there's a really good chance that it'll do like Elemental, because Elemental, again, it opened small, but it had legs, went for a long time. For the size that it was, for how it started, it did pretty well. I'm not expecting that Elio will do that, but I could see it. I was around for Acolyte.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was around when you guys were talking about it. I didn't hate it nearly as much as you guys did. I liked some parts of it, but it was a very frustratingly told story.
So, I mean, I think Elemental has a bad message too. I'm against inter-elemental relationships. So,
for sure.
It's all starting.
What are their kids going to look like? Lava rocks?
A puff of steam, exactly.
Puffs of steam. Yep. See, Jared's got me.
Yeah. See that movie.
I'm for
Yeah.
elemental. I'm an elemental purist.
Well, see that one and Zootopia were both ones. Which the trailers for Zootopia 2, I'm not super hopeful. Like,
it looks like they're really leaning into the furry demographic. There's like a rave scene in the like the preview trailer.
Yeah,
like it starts off interesting. I was like, okay, this is cool, and then it cuts to like the club scene, and you're like, okay, like you're.
Yeah, I mean that was there in the first one too in a lot of ways with the yoga.
Yeah, it kind of got like co-opted though. Like it was a little bit of pandering there, but then like it really got picked up. Like, oh, this is our Bible now, and it seems like they're kind of pandering to those people, which I think is very gross.
But it's early previews at this point because it's just not like it's not even really like a trailer because it's just like, here, look at this goofy scenario that's showing you that we've got these people, coming back and whatever. So I really liked Zootopia. I really liked the way.
I think Zootopia is a good movie, and I don't think the second one's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm not super hopeful for it. I mean, I'd like it to be. I guess to some degree, I'm going in hoping that it will, but I guess my expectations are low.
Apparently, the next. I'm sorry. So I was just on the paper. There's a Pixar movie called Gatto.
Never heard of it.
In 2 years.
In the post,
like the gangster.
No, not Gatto. Cat. Come on now.
Is that cat? Because that was two.
I guess no, because there's two T's.
I don't know Spanish.
It does mean cat, but
well, yeah,
but there's one T. There's one T in Spanish. Yeah,
because
So maybe it's a play on words. I don't know.
Unless they're double letters, unless they're their own letter. So it's probably something else. It must be. Maybe it's Italian or something like that. The double T version of that. I don't know. Yeah. But they did. Oh, that's what I was going to say. There was a small little the first little bit post credit in Elio that whatever, and then at the very end they had a little teaser tag for Hopper, I guess.
Is it about bunnies or frogs?
Actually, it was a lizard.
Lizards don't hop.
I have no idea, honestly. I do feel like I'd seen something about Hopper where it was
woke,
or whatever.
Woke.
You got to include the lizards. But it was. I know nothing about Hopper, and it was just such a random little thing. But it was apparently supposed to be for Hopper at the end. So I mean, it's not worth sitting around for unless you just like to do that anyway, which I generally do.
I can't believe they're making Toy Story 5 too.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, but I
can't believe they made Toy Story 4. I didn't watch it. I refused to watch it.
It was enjoyable.
It had its moments. I would have rather they'd done like what they did with how they've kind of oversaturated Disney Plus with Toy Story shorts. Most of those Toy Story shorts have been fun. Sure, whatever.
It's also 1T for Bato as well.
Yeah, for Bato. Yeah. But the Toy Story 4, I wish the little bits that were kind of fun and good about it, I just wish they'd done some more shorts instead of doing a Toy Story 4 and kind of undercutting the story of
shorts.
The point of Woody. There's a channel that I like to watch, Super Carlin Brothers, and they did a video recently saying okay, so for Toy Story 5, let's not follow the whole train here. This is a way we could kind of maybe even rewrite that. So I'm not expecting that they'll do that, but I'm okay, if they did that, sure.
It was a miracle that Toy Story 3 was as good as it was.
Oh, and it was so good.
And it was very clearly this is the end of the story.
Good.
You don't need to keep going.
You don't, yeah. And honestly, I think that they could have found a good story to tell with Toy Story 4, but what they ended up doing really undercut.
Do it with new characters then.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm not arguing for that they should have. I'm just saying, again, they didn't do it well. There could be a story to tell there of whatever, but even the setup of like Woody's not Bonnie's favorite, and like coming to the realization that he couldn't figure out in Toy Story 1, but like deciding to be here, I'm going to be the Buzz in the situation, and just say, cool, I'm going to take the second seat to her favorite toy. Would have been a great story and a progression for him as a character in not being the most important like he had always been for Andy.
Right.
Like, that would have been a good story if they'd wanted to do something with Bonnie and post Toy Story 3. But instead they did that, but then they also had Woody decide, well, but I'm then going to do things for me and just leave her behind, and I guess kind of like, oh, I'm helping other kids meet up with their soul toy or whatever. It just didn't really work because it felt too selfish.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about because I didn't see it.
So he goes,
have a good night, Jacob. I know that there's like a daycare.
Well, no, that's 3.
No, that's 3. That's 3. No, you're right.
They go on a road trip and he loses, or she loses him and her new favorite toy, which is a plastic toy Forky. And Woody's really big on trying to get back to her because she needs her favorite toy or whatever. And then they come across a carnival where it turns out Bo Peep has been hiding out as like a
I saw that
or whatever, and like he decides, oh, I'm gonna like stick with Bo Peep because we had true love, and we'll hang out at this carnival and help kids meet up with their soul toy thing. And they don't like put it quite that way, but they're like, kids need toys, and so let's get them toys.
Predestined
kind of thing. And the other thing is, they like Buzz has always been dumb.
Jared,
cranked dumb up.
Jared,
tenfold. It was ridiculous.
Jared, you had me at there's a snake in my boot.
Yeah, it was. That's the thing. I like looking at things and finding the good in them, and like there's not no redeeming qualities of 4,
right.
But I just really wish they hadn't done it because 3 was such a beautiful ending. So yeah.
Well, news. Let's go to news. The Lucent fractured mind. That's why I'm. Well, hold on. That's why I'm wearing the shirt.
Oh.
See, that drops in a week. It's like the book 2.5. That's all in a dream, and these are great comics, and Michael Bancroft is a cool dude. So I'm excited for that.
Did I hear from you guys talking about like the children are asleep or some sort of comic book with that, or the children are? There's something. The security guard at my work is a big comic guy and has been trying to get into his like trying to be owning a comic shop kind of thing or something like that, and he was telling me something about it. I thought I'd heard it here as well. But.
That was Tanner.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah,
that's one of his favorite comic books, and I only remembered because I just saw him like 3 weeks ago, and he recommended the same comic book to someone else, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember you talking about this.
I remember you told me about that.
And now it's like the children are asleep.
It's something like that.
No, it's like something's killing the children. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds. I just thought I recognized it, and since you were talking comics, I was going to ask if you guys, because I'd heard another good glowing recommendation for it.
Oh yeah. I remember looking at this.
It's called Something is Killing the Children, and it looks haunting, and I need to buy it. So
well, just tossing another comic thing out there, I guess. Yeah.
Like cool.
It looks good.
Cool stuff.
Art looks really good. Yeah.
I assume since there's so many people cosplaying that this is the hero stopping the thing that's killing the children.
Unless the children are actually demons or something, I don't know.
Oh my goodness! Sorry. Oh my goodness!
Got everybody out.
You can tell I'm not on my game. I was clicking on pictures that whole time, and I hadn't shared the screen again. So this is the Something's Killing the Children.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
I just remember him.
Looks
good.
He
recently gave me that recommendation. So since you were talking comics, I figured I'd toss that out there too.
SICTIC is the abbreviation. Something is killing the children.
Okay.
SICTIC.
Interesting.
Anyway, yes, it's one of his favorites, Tanner's, who he's doing really well.
Heck yeah. Speaking of comics, I'm planning to start a comic because I've been trying to get stories out there for a while, and I want to do animation, but I'm just so early on in the skill set that I think I'm going to start with comics.
Yeah, that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Michael Bancroft is completely self-taught. Just watch YouTube videos, learn how to do it.
Oh yeah, I am.
Justin
All my
Hancock
art is self-taught.
is playing Assassin's Creed and didn't see we went live. Well, you are forgiven. Pardon you. So,
You do it at the same time.
I'm in a forgiving mood.
10 minutes, every week.
So,
Give or take 10 minutes.
We're not selling indulgences.
I still, I am, I am the Dune Messiah, which comes out next year.
Hey.
So
Nice.
Did you guys watch the Dune show? How was that? The Dune prophecy?
I
did not watch it.
Okay.
I heard there was a sex scene at the very beginning.
I think it was in episode 2. Because we were going to watch it. I watched the first episode. And then the second episode opened with a very graphic sex scene. I was like, I'm good. Because I watched. So it was episode 2. Because the first episode was actually kind of intriguing. I was like, this is an interesting premise.
I don't remember hearing much about it. I heard some semi-disappointing.
It got renewed. It got renewed for season 2, and I've heard some people enjoyed it. Some people thought it was kind of dumb.
Since you're talking about Dune Messiah, I figured something else in the Dune verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Who was what was going to happen first? Jared returning to the stream, or David releasing a video? So
I told him he'd lose because I knew I was going to be back in 2 weeks. So
you did tell him how long he had.
Yep,
to win
I gave him a deadline.
So, Dune Messiah. There's been some interesting news, though. I didn't pull it up, but they cast the children from Children of Dune, who appear in Dune Messiah as babies, but they're not in the story. It's literally like the last chapter of the book. There's 2 kids.
I have read through Messiah and Children of Dune and God Emperor of Dune, I think, or audio booked it, but they all blended together to me so much that I don't remember what comes where.
I still haven't read the books. I need to.
I think you'd remember God Emperor of Dune. It's quite hard to forget.
That's the one that has
that's Worm Boy.
Yeah, Worm Boy.
That's Big Worm Boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure about that one. But I've also heard a lot of people talking about how Paul ends up being such a villain in Messiah, and I'm like, I mean, kind of, but it's
not really.
Kind of, I don't know. Yeah.
Not really. I disagree with people who say
why I'm
that. He's presented with
tough choices.
Very difficult choices, and he tries to choose the least damaging one. He does horrible things, but also he is kind of the Messiah of Dune.
It's presented in a very for the greater good concept, but it's presented that he feels like he's aware of the fact that he's doing terrible things, and I don't even feel like there was a lot of discussion around the terrible things. It was more commented on that he did terrible things, and that that's why I'm like, am I missing something here? But
well, he has to do a holy war, and lots of people die because of it. But I definitely push back against the Paul is actually the villain narrative, which is typically
especially
pushed by
leftists.
So
he even kind of is okay, let's. I don't know. Yeah, so
Dune Tokyo Drift is only part canon. Alexander,
that's the third.
Murindon, hail! Thanks for joining the stream. I'm saying we replace Zendaya with Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, Zendaya is massively miscast.
You want Sydney Sweeney to play every part in everything, it seems. So, I mean,
I don't think she'd make a good. I don't think she'd make a good Johnny either. But
I am kind of curious as to the direction they're going to go because of the way that they set up they set things up in Dune Part 2 to then how it connects to how they how it works in Dune Messiah?
It could be really good. It could be terrible. The ending, the stupidly thrown in that they kind of ruined Chani in part 2, and I don't know.
Which is weird because I thought I remembered you saying you were really excited about what they did with Chani in a lot of ways for part 1 at the very least. But that which seemed weird to me because that's probably the biggest change.
She's not really in part 1.
True. Yeah.
Is Chani the princess that he marries at the end? Part 2?
No, Chani is his. It's Zendaya. It's the.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. So, Chani is his. What's the word I'm looking for? Concubine. There we go.
He falls in love with her first, but then he's forced to marry the princess.
Well, he sets it up to marry the princess Erlon because
Erlon. There you go.
He needs to be able to legitimize his.
Yeah, he has to. It's a
politically he's forced. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but it's something that like he set up himself. So it's not even like
no. In the books,
do this or else.
No. He doesn't set him up himself. Chani sets it up.
Kind of, yeah. It's
in the books, in the books, she tells him to do it.
Yeah. She tells him this is how it's the only way that it'll work. And he's like, okay, yeah, because the way that he's trying to set it up, he's like, you know what? I'm taking you down, but I will, instead of just like killing you and taking you, I'm going to marry your daughter in order to make this legitimate this way, as opposed to just. I don't know.
He's basically willing to sacrifice, the kingdom for her, and she says no, marry her.
Fair point. I think, yeah. Anyway, it's been a little while, and I've only read it the once, but it was like, it's not like.
And they did the opposite of that in the movie, and it's and she's an important character in Dune Messiah, so I don't know how they're going to handle it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also scared because I didn't like just that one element. Like Dune Part 2 was a perfect movie if it weren't for what they did to Chani. So
yeah, which was small enough of a thing for that movie that it didn't do too much to that movie. It's just to the future movies that it might. Yeah, I'm just really curious because I just don't know where they're going to go with it. Because in the books, she is a like fully willing participant in everything.
Yes. They basically swapped her character with Stilgar. Like Stilgar's attitude and her attitude, they're supposed to be the opposite of what. In the books, they're swapped, and in the movies,
which kind of does make a little bit of sense in terms like the way that it was presented of like here's the old guard that really is like looking forward to the Messiah, whereas the new generation that doesn't necessarily believe in all that stuff. So that worked again for that movie and for the story they were telling in that movie, it was fine. But again, where it suddenly goes into Dune Messiah, where how is that going to work if she is vehemently against him and separated from him? I don't know. Yeah.
We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to finding out because it's at least going to look good. So
we know that, yeah.
I've seen some people playing the game and it looks really fun too, but I know I can't afford to buy it.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
It looks good. I don't know. Well, I don't find myself playing Conan Exiles that much because I don't know if I really like I don't know. No, it's just the Conan Exile game is. I really liked it at first. I just haven't played it as much. It's more, and I don't know if I would get into a Dune themed Conan Exiles, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's more survival than Conan Exiles, but
fair enough.
It's always Sunni. Yes, it is. He's a little bit obsessed. So more news. I have not been impressed with the trailers for the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson. Because it's just not my brand of humor, but this poster is fantastic. This is great. This is a really, really good gag and a well done poster.
Yeah, so I've never seen any of the other Naked Guns, but. Seeing as it's, at least in my understanding, kind of in the vein of like an airplane, like spoof comedy sort of situation. At least that's my understanding.
Yes, it is.
I don't even know if I've actually seen Airplane, but I've seen enough clips and little gags from it that I'm like,
you should watch Airplane.
I mean, if everybody's excited about it, I'll go for it. And I can see that this might be going for the same kind of, like from the trailer, I can see it might be going.
No, that's the thing. When I watched the trailer, it doesn't. It
doesn't
feels like
excite
they're turning it. They're putting a bunch of action in it, and you're like, I don't even think there's like maybe one. It's not about the action, but
but it does seem like they're trying to keep it like goofy in the goofy action. I don't know.
It seems a lot more juvenile to me, and so I'm worried about it. It's oh, there's
Weird.
So anyway, I'm scared of this one, and but I will admit, give him props where it's due. This is a great poster. So, and there was one good gag in the trailer with the O.J. Simpson. That was funny.
That was, again, not knowing enough about the originals to know like, oh, he was, but like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, I can see being like, nope. Yeah, that was a funny bit, I guess, but yeah.
We'll see. It's another one of the, I don't know. I'm skeptical of everything now. I
was really confused for a second. I was looking up Sydney Sweeney to see what else I'd seen her in recently, because obviously I knew her in Madam Web, but like, and anyone but you. But for some reason, it looked like it was saying that she was in Lilo and Stitch, the live action one, and I was very confused.
Yeah, she plays Stitch.
So I decided Mark Clark must have gone in and like edited IMDb,
probably, yeah,
and everything, because like the girl that plays Nani is apparently first name Sydney, but yeah, so I was very confused. But she's not. It's not on there anymore. I don't know. The IMDb gods have corrected your attempts there, Mark Clark. So anyway, I was very confused for a minute there. And I don't know what else she was in, but I thought there was something else coming up. Anyway.
Shea Coulier will play a character named Slug, who's a former drag queen in Ironheart. They're really trying to win back comic book fans. Let me tell you that. This is a quote. You will be seeing the diva in some looks. I don't even know what that's saying. I help a group of urban Robin Hoods to take away from the privileged and help give back to the community. That's not what Robin Hood did. No.
Rob from the rich.
That's what the legend of Robin Hood. That's what everyone believes him to be.
If you think that that's what Robin Hood stands for, you fundamentally misunderstand the character. He never once says rob from the rich and steal from the poor.
Okay.
So
he takes back money being stolen from the people by an unjust government. It has nothing to do with privilege.
Fair enough.
Robin Hood fights against corrupt government. He doesn't steal from the rich. And that's not even what this is another step away from that. He takes from the privileged.
Yeah.
Why does privileged inherently mean bad?
That is a good distinction, and that is a good point. I do feel like it's.
Well, I'm sorry, you got lucky to be born rich, so that means we can steal from you.
Yeah.
That is not Robin Hood.
You're right.
Yeah. So that is what Robin Hood
was privileged. He was born rich.
Oh yeah. But he left that behind, so depending on how you're looking at it. But yeah.
So I agree, Ellen, that is not what Robin Hood actually stands for, but that is what the logos of Robin Hood has become. Kind of similar how Hitler, the logos of Hitler has completely changed from what he actually was. Even Hitler wasn't as bad as Hitler. You know
what? What are you talking about?
Okay.
That's a pretty tricky one to put in there, but I do see where you're coming from.
Because
I don't think we need to unpack that either.
The devil, essentially. Hitler has replaced the devil.
Yeah, sure. I will say Hitler isn't the equivalent of Satan. Sure,
You're right. But that's how
he did really bad things.
Yes, he was awful.
Okay,
but that's how we treat him.
Okay. You said it really poorly, but I'm choosing to see the good in what you said and unpackage it in a manageable way, Charles.
I won't
but
be
yes, he has become somewhat like mythologized.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where it becomes a black and white situation where they painted it as just one thing or another, and the idea of boiling somebody down to one attribute of them, which in the case of Hitler, while it may be slightly misguided, it's probably not uncalled for. Whereas in the same way that like they've boiled down Robin Hood to a slightly different version of what he is, but it's kind of based around the same idea.
Yes,
it's the opposite of what he stood for.
That's
it's
not the opposite, but it is not the same.
The legend of Robin Hood has become from the rich and give to the poor because there are several adaptations of Robin Hood where he just steals from random rich people.
Yeah,
and it's wrong.
I will say generally they do.
It was,
and they don't understand the character. I don't like those either.
They generally do. They generally do also try to make sure that they paint the people he's stealing from as crooked or nefarious in some way. Generally, they don't necessarily have him stealing from somebody who is just rich by circumstances and nothing else is going on. Of course, part of where that comes from is that they only ever paint people who are rich as taking advantage of it and being problematic.
Yeah.
So again, it's
a problem.
There's always more nuance. It's one of those things that like to a certain degree, I appreciated at least the concept of the show that you did for a little while. The nuanced,
Robin Hood he's like the origins of Batman. Like that's he was born privileged and decided to help
to use that privilege to help people against corrupt people taking advantage of the poor people, right? And it's generally taking advantage of the poor people. And so I can see the transition. I can see the kind of progression to it.
They literally just did this too, and it failed horribly.
Never even heard of it.
You did. We talked about this on the show.
I wasn't on then, but
Robin Hood, it's bad.
It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. So I guess another thing to equate it to is the word gay. The gay does not mean homosexual, but it has become to mean that.
Okay, sure. That's a much better example.
Yes, that is a much better one. I did not say that. I said, okay.
He's been boiled down.
I'm not even going to repeat it.
Put it in bed. Put it in bed.
Hitler did some good things.
He was a good artist.
He did make the Autobahn. I'll give him that. But not a good guy.
He was boiled down to one primary and very bad thing.
It could have been it could have been 7 million Jews. Okay,
wow.
It wasn't that bad.
Wow. Okay, so instead of putting it under the rug, we've like taken it out of the rug. We've made a flag out of it. We started waving that flag
Volkswagen
around.
too. And those Hugo Boss uniforms, those were sleek. Okay.
Wow.
And to be fair, again, it's easy to look back at history and like hindsight is 20/20 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that in no way is excusing it and is not saying that he was good in any way, shape, or form because it was really bad the stuff that he did. But like,
you are a wordsmith, Charles. I'm glad we have you on the show. Speaking of pure evil and Hitler. This is a good segue. Jojo Siwa just came out as not coming out.
Oh,
I did hear that.
You guys know who she is, right?
I've heard the name, but that's about it.
She was like the 12-year-old gay pop icon, and everything that she did was uber cringe, and her music is terrible.
Yeah.
She came out and she's 100% straight now. And said the industry pressured me, and the industry and the community bullied me into being gay.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because it's her statement is sexuality is
as a minor,
still not necessarily quite the message that you're hoping to get from it, but it's still,
no.
But there's a lot to be said about the community pressuring and feeling that pressure that this of boxing you. It's funny because it's supposed to be all about not having boxes, and then they're like, but so
but tell us what your box is.
Yeah, because you look like this, you act like this, you must be in this box that is a different box than the one that society wants or tradition wants or whatever. That's kind of frustrating. So I will get behind saying that it's frustrating that there is
no one's in a box. Everyone's in a box.
Kind of leads into the big discussion we had last week about is all a representation good? Like I think when it leads to this kind of stuff, like that's why I pushed back a little bit about what you had to say last week, Jared. That like,
and I agree. Like those comments are definitely like
pretty damning.
What I'm trying to say is like they're valid. Those comments are valid. That like those influence our communities just as much as we influence what we watch, right? So I think that there's definitely something to be said. But
no, I thought we had a great conversation last week.
I agree. It was good. But this is crazy. And
yes.
Well, no, I was just gonna say I think it is interesting just to put it out there that like it is. There's several people in the trans community who like transition and then they regret it and want to go back. And I think we talked about that a little bit, but I think we just got to let ourselves have some time.
Yeah, and there are some that haven't. At least at this point, they haven't. And who knows? And honestly, I think to a certain extent, I'm coming to the point of saying, you know what? Fine, I disagree with it, but you do you. I do wish that they would be a little less pressuring to, especially minors, but. Yeah.
No, like she was very, very young when they started pushing this stuff on her, and then because she, acquiesced and said yes, she became like the
icon,
the poster child,
literally poster child.
Yeah, and I'll just add that I think like it's these sorts of opportunities that allow us to ask the question, right? Like, and I think that's the important thing is like, hey. We need to ask the question: is this right or is this wrong? Is this good for me? Is this bad? Right? Like, and it's that sort of like she was saying in this. It's been a beautiful development, beautiful connection, right? Like, so I think you're seeing that she's starting to realize she's starting to develop.
She actually looks happy now.
A different sort of understanding, and that's great. So,
and just to put this out there, I will say like, hey, I think there is something to be said for allowing people to just not feel too restricted to whatever, but that also doesn't necessarily take away from what is right and wrong. We can still believe what's right and wrong, and then say, you know what, sometimes society does build boxes that don't need to be there, and we need to maybe work a little bit better to figure out how to just
the Berlin Wall,
right. There you
go. That was a bad box.
It was a bad.
I think that's true, Jared. But every time we
consider
getting rid of a box, we need to understand what the purpose of the box was.
No, and that's where like I agree, and where like again my beliefs are that I think that there's a point and purpose to it. But I can understand where some people might feel it really beneficial to them to be able to step outside those boxes, and I don't like it. I don't think it's right, but I guess it's not really, to a certain extent, it's not really my place to say that you can't, just that I don't think you should, to a certain extent, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
I mean, yes, we are not of an authority position where we say, if I'm a father, I can do that for my own child. However, as a member of society, I do advocate for policies that not necessarily would take away the rights from gay people, but like prevent banning trans children, like absolutely.
And one of the things I think is really important too is acknowledging the fact that like going into like our society is built up to a certain extent that we are trying to put into policy some things that we believe are morally right and wrong. To a degree, we are trying to affect the policy based on what we think is right.
There's some good boxes.
Put that out there. And if we are not the majority and that's what the policy ends up changing, then that's what the society has decided, and we kind of have to roll with that to a certain extent. But that like it doesn't need to stop me from being able to say this is what I still think is right, and what should be these limits and restrictions put on things to a certain extent, because that's what I believe is right and wrong. Because and again, they're asking, will you vote for this concept? I will vote for this concept, but not for that concept, because I don't agree with this concept, but I do with those kinds of things. And doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just me voting for or voicing my opinion about what I think is right and wrong. Same thing with, again, I've used this analogy a little bit before, but and I think it's a perfect example, because you look at back in the 80s or whatever, outside of any LGBTQ stuff, people having sex outside of marriage was becoming, and it always happened. It had always happened for sure. But there was the society that we built was trying to say that that was not right. And there was a pushback against that. And we have come to a point where we can kind of accept that that happens and is depicted and is shown and is treated as not wrong. And it is frustrating to me because I do still think it's wrong. But I also have to treat people that decide to live and have sex outside of marriage and live together before they're married just as people anyway, and realize, you know what? Yeah, I would have voted for something that says that you can't have sex outside of marriage, but that's not the feeling of the society as a whole, and I'm just going to roll with it. And I wouldn't have wanted to mistreat anybody who did. I don't think we need to mistreat people who act differently than what we believe is right.
So the best way the best way to handle that kind of stuff is to encourage the good behavior and not punish the bad behavior.
I agree. That's a great point. And actually, the one thing that I will say,
and instead the United States did the opposite of that. They encouraged promiscuity. They literally, they literally went door to door and specifically targeted black communities. It was evil what they did. They went door to door, knocking on door to door, and told people, "Hey, you can get money from the government if you divorce your husbands if you don't get married."
Yes.
Yeah. And before that happened, with like the model cities programs and all that stuff too. Blacks had a higher marriage rate than white people. They were like 80% born inside of wedlock, and now and white families are headed the same direction too. And the reason why it's important is because statistics back up that nuclear families are actually good for the economy.
Yeah, and I'll even give that there are situations and places where there are people who, for them individually, it kind of worked better not to be married or whatever, or all those things. But I do think that overall, for a society, it was problematic, and I think that same thing could be said for a lot of these situations with people in homosexual or trans, in the LGBTQ community. It might be temporarily beneficial to their mental, ability to handle things if they're staying as part of that community. But I do think it's not good for society overall, even though I can also acknowledge that there are problems that come from bad nuclear families that are doing it wrong. Yeah. That doesn't take away from the fact that when it's done right, that's the best,
it's the strongest indicator it's the strongest predictor of personal success.
Yeah.
Is, were you born with two loving parents or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I'll even give that there are some situations where it has worked out well for people that have not been in there, but I still think it's best.
Yeah. So, well, no, but it backs it like just saying like, oh, sometimes marriage doesn't work out. Yeah, that's part of the negative statistic. But the strongest statistical indicator that we've ever found that can predict whether or not someone will be successful in life is, were you born inside of a nuclear family?
Yeah.
And the next best predictors that we have don't even come close.
Yeah.
Did we bomb Iran today? Is that what happened? I've been gone all day.
Trump was ordering strikes on him.
It's a bomber of a story.
Well, we can move on.
No, we're done with politics. We're done with politics.
Thanks for talking about Hitler for us, Charles.
It wasn't even my fault this time. You guys were doing most of the talking.
That's why I said Charles.
I didn't even bring up Hitler. That was Charles. All right. Okay. So DCU. James Gunn. I'm 100% on board with what he said this time. Talking about how communism ruined nuclear families. Well, it was one of the 45 goals of communism to directly target and destroy the nuclear family.
That's terrible.
So, James Gunn says the movie industry is dying because films are made without finished scripts, and Marvel got killed by output increase that wasn't fair. He's half right. I think the increase in releases and the fact that they were all bad,
which
really
I think
hurt Marvel.
I think a good chunk of that could be attributed to the demand to just push them out. So let's grab anybody that wants to tell a story, that wants to feel like they're doing something. And so that they were more apt to grab lesser quality filmmakers. And in that same vein saying, hey, let's look at some of these,
But
people
I mean,
are trying to
this
push a
is
message in ways
it's also
that-
kind of what Brandon Sanderson was saying about the Wheel of Time too. Like it's the scripts. We're starting. For some reason, the movie industry is now copying the TV industry. Everything that Brandon Sanderson was criticizing about making a TV show before you're done writing it. For some reason, we're doing that with the movies now.
And always being an advocate for some of the nuance there have been a lot of things that have been improved by like ad libs on site and different things like that. But you still
Iron Man 1 was mostly improvised.
So again, but it is still the exception rather than the rule, and it's one of those things where it's really beneficial when you have a structure that you can then start playing.
You got to know at least where you're going, what kind of thing you want to tell. Yes, you can ad lib, but you can't just. I don't know. Not everybody can wing it, I guess.
I came into this show because I was the other Star Wars guy watching. I don't remember if it was Mandalorian or Boba Fett, and so like same thing when it comes to the Star Wars sequels. Like, yeah, sure. If you look at the originals, George changed things. George changed things at the very last minute. There were things that he didn't plan, things that he didn't want in there that ended up being great bits. But when you then look at how they did it with the sequels, where they just had no plan, and it just led to bad improv. Like I compare it to Michael Scott from The Office and his bad improv.
Just pulling a gun on him.
No, it's a real.
He says he has a gun in his pocket, but he can't show me. Right?
or again, like and I pull out my gun and it's a water gun. Yes, and I pull out my other gun that's a real gun. Like technically, you're yes-anding, but you're yes-anding in a way that is just saying nope. Never mind.
That's called a yes, but.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is they technically said yes and like that. That's what they did with those shows is they technically yes-anded with those movies is they yes-anded, but then they and-anded. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
That's my favorite
writing. I mean, I've been screaming about it for years.
Yeah.
Writing sucks. But I really respect Gunn for this decision. It's coming off of the heels of canceling one of the projects. Or I don't know if it's canceled, but he pushed it back. He said
took it off.
Everyone was pushing me to make the movie. Everyone wanted to make it. It was ready. It was greenlit, ready to go. But I didn't like the screenplay. And so I canceled it.
Was that Sergeant Rock?
I don't know. He hasn't said which one it was. I think people are assuming that's what it was.
Because I've heard different
people
things
are guessing.
Getting pushed back and changed and everything. Although that's also probably something that it could have also been Clayface. Oh no, that one was the one they said.
But I mean, I gotta respect it. I gotta give him props.
And same thing with
haven't liked a lot of things he said.
I'd be willing to bet that under other studio heads and under other mindsets, the Batman 2 would have been being pushed a little bit more if it wasn't for this mindset of him saying, no, we got to get it all squared away with the script.
He's said several times in the last 2 weeks, like, the Batman 2 is not canceled. Elseworld still exists. It just has to justify its existence. It has to be good enough to be able to make a movie that's not part of the DCU. The problem is Matt Reeves just takes a long time to write. He's also had some mental health problems for the last 2 or 3 years, that he's getting over. So,
which again, I think that this is one of those things that could come down to James Gunn saying, we're not pushing forward with this in spite of all those issues. Because other studios would have said, but we just need to get something out there.
Yeah,
said, no.
So I think this is a good call. I think this is a good call, and I respect him for it.
Yep.
Don't agree with him on everything, but this is a win.
Heck yeah.
I completely disagree with this one. He's trying to figure out Batman, and he's like, because this is coming off the heels of, I didn't cancel Matt Reeves' Batman. He's just taking a long time to make sure it's good. And then he says, now, but I am struggling with our Batman because I want a reason for him to exist, and he needs to be different from the Matt Reeves Batman. And then he says, like, it's hard because every single Batman story has been told. No. It seems like half of the comics that have come out of DC over the past 20 years have Batman in them. So, so take the best one, and put it into a movie. Like it
does. That's when Kennedy. We don't have scenes to work
You're cutting out. You're cutting out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Let's see. Sorry about that. You guys go ahead.
Never seen The Office. Yeah, Parks and Rec is better than The Office. I enjoyed The Office though. The first half.
Well,
The second half
they're-
was fine.
A little different. I don't know.
Iran is jamming the panel. All right, bomb them. I didn't have an opinion because I didn't do any of the research, but if they're screwing up with my show, go ahead. They have been, funding like all of the terrorist attacks on Israel and the United States. So, anyway, I'm no expert on Middle Eastern politics.
I generally just try to stay out of politics because it's so polarized at this point, and as you see here, I am all about that nuance.
All about that nuance, baby.
The Israel-Palestine issue is interest. It's confusing. There's a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of I don't know. There's a.
I think you
there
can,
was
I
this
think,
huge.
I think you can disagree. You can disagree. Yeah, I think I both of them were wrong.
I think no. I agree mostly with Tucker in the sense that if there was a legitimate assassin attempt against Donald Trump, then I think we should absolutely consider going against Iran. But that's the question. Like, if there was, why are we not looking into it? And whatnot. I don't know.
Let me pull.
I don't know.
Did David send this to me or did you, Charles?
James Gunn, I have not sent you anything this week.
David sent this to me, so I don't know
think
what.
if he sends you stuff, he should expect to be on the show.
I know. I pulled one of them off because I was like, he wanted to talk about it. So, but James Gunn explained, that DC Superman is weak, and now I'm more convinced that the movie will be great because he's weak.
Well, they did put it in quotes because there's probably some nuance.
He gets hurt a lot in the trailers. He's going to face lots of threats. He's the perfect explanation for why he's beatable. It's because he's still new at being Superman. He hasn't grown into his full power.
I doubt the explanation. Maybe, but he generally.
No, that's what he said. That's what he said.
Well, that could be, but
maybe
he's decided to make Superman weaker because. Okay, I wanted to make Superman to be vulnerable. I see the online things, who would beat whom, Homelander, Superman, or whatever, Adam Warlock or Brightburn, and I'm like, this is the stupidest conversation. So, then whoever would win this fight would mean that they're the best, because I'll just go out and write
a new superhero that's God-man.
God-man, and he can destroy you with a wink and win, and that... what is he trying to say, though?
So he's saying just because they're more powerful doesn't mean they're a better character. And I agree with him on that point because people are always trying to disguise, would Homelander or Superman beat each other in a fight? And it's as if they're saying this character is better because they would win. Whereas he's saying, no, the character is better because of their own personal struggles and they overcome those struggles.
Right, but it kind of feels like he doesn't understand Superman here. He says, Batman is interesting to me because he can be beaten. And so for that reason, I have decided to make a Superman that can also be beaten.
Well, but I remember literally watching shows where Superman was getting beaten, but it was because of kryptonite, right? It's not that he's unbeatable. You just have to be clever.
So, I think that's the problem because, to that point of what, I have heard this a lot too, people feeling like they identify more with Batman because he's not just omnipotent. And Superman is so often portrayed as just flawlessly omnipotent, and that becomes boring if you just make him flawlessly omnipotent. However, I do think that I've heard a lot of people who said that they really liked that Superman not necessarily being made weak, but in trying to tell stories that are about the things that he's not necessarily going to be able to just punch and win.
Yeah, that's what we've said on the show. That's the best stories are when he's not punching things. Because
it's one of the things I've heard as a good point to the Superman and Lois show that just finished up on CW was that a lot about
be a father.
That he just his strength won't make him a better. Trying to figure out how to be a good dad.
That looks like a good show.
But I don't think the answer to making him interesting is make him weak.
I think he's trying to make Invincible the movie. where Invincible's interesting because it's a Superman who's learning to be Superman and he can still be beaten and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's why we like Invincible, because he's not invincible. But
it kind of feels like
the problem is that he's
fundamentally doesn't
appropriating
understand
a character.
the Superman character.
That's the issue, is that he's taking a character who's known for being super and making him less super. If he were to make his own character, that's different. But
well, it's possible. I think it depends on how he ends up presenting it, because things said beforehand sometimes can be taken, or again, he may be trying to serve a particular
right. We definitely saw this with Andor season 1, where you're like, this is going to be the worst show imaginable because they said retarded things about it. But
and so like I feel like he could be trying to really, like, not necessarily pander, but like trying to address concerns that people might have by saying, look, this won't be uninteresting because he's just so unbeatable. And that's why the trailers tend to show the bits where he's not being unbeatable, because he wants to pull in those people as well.
This is why I'm worried. Like,
it all depends on what he ends up doing with it instead.
He'll say something really smart and then say something really stupid that makes, like, I'm so scared of this movie.
I like what Trustworn is saying, or Truthsworn is saying here.
The interesting Superman stories are about controlling your vulnerability,
Which actually, that's another thing. So from the last time that I was on, you guys were talking about the change from truth, justice, in the American way to truth, justice, in the human way, which again sounds dumb. Seems like a dumb concept. I hate the potential message that ends up sending, that it probably is trying to take advantage of being able to send. However, looking at the trailer and that interview with Lois, and the way that he's trying to say, like, I wasn't trying to represent anything except for doing what's right. I think that's probably the concept that they're going to try to go for.
Yeah, that's why I hate that change, because
I'm not saying
because humans are inherently evil.
Again,
the human way has always been.
I'm not advocating
self-gratification, and America stood for principles that elevated humanity.
Right. And I think that they could, if they want to, again, come back to this idea of teaching you how to control ultimate power, that idea of, trying to play around with all these other things. It's I don't know. To me, I'm not saying that I am happy that they changed it. I'm actually not happy, and I agree with your assessment that there are problems with the way that they ended up deciding to take it. I just am curious to see. I'm still holding out some hope that they end up doing something a little bit more.
I want this movie to be great. I'm terrified that it's going to suck.
I'm not quite as pessimistic that it will be bad, but I am still a little apprehensive for sure. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
We shall see.
Have you guys ever seen?
By the way, you guys need to tell me when you can see the movie so I can buy your tickets.
That one's going to be an interesting weekend, because speaking of scouts, the scout camp that I went to and actually worked at for a number of years burned down about 5 years ago in the Dixie Fire. And they just this last year decided to not try to recover it. And so that weekend is the weekend they're having a farewell to camp. Like, everyone gets to go up and be there for the one last week at camp before the scouts let go of it and everything. It was, formative years, if nothing else. Like, it was a great camp. I do think that it had gotten away from itself for a variety of other reasons, but that, like, outside of even the other problems with scouts, that made it so it was not what it used to be. And then, of course, being burnt down. But I'm gonna be there regardless, and so I don't know how I'm going to be able to handle being able to see it. And so that weekend, that specific Saturday, I won't be on the show because I will be up at camp. So, and then the following week, though,
I have to see it. I'm seeing it like late Saturday night. I'm really busy that week too.
Yeah,
but Jared's going to be busy giving his mother not giving his mother grandchildren.
That works for both of us.
That was a good one. I like that.
I assume it works for you. I don't know. But
that was a great out of left field segue.
We appreciate it, Mark Clark. Always bringing in the big ones.
Okay, there's one more. Fantastic. There's one more news story, which I can't believe I didn't know this. But the Wheel of Time. We gotta talk about it one more time.
That's what
my favorite thing about the show. The best thing that the show
it got
ever
canceled
did was writing that original song, The Hills of Tanchico, which I love with all of my heart so much, and I don't despise completely. So it turns out, we may have spoken too soon. Okay.
There's original.
The lyrics of Hills of Tanchico actually work because it's not innuendo. It's an instructional video. This is the composer of the song. So now we know why he was confused about what number was just right.
I see.
Yeah.
So he
I mean, the lyrics
didn't-
suddenly
he didn't
make
know how
sense where
many-
1's not enough and 3 is too many. I've got my brand new, not artificial in any way, Hills of Tanchico. So
I see.
Interesting.
Man, that is a
Okay.
this show's a joke. It just makes
Oh,
me
you were
so
talking
sad.
about Wheel of Time. I thought. Oh, never
It
mind.
makes me so sad. The Wheel of Time. Anyway, hashtag save Watt. It has been saved. Watt's been
Yes,
saved
it has.
from the
We put it
the
out of
clutches
its-
of evil. So,
canceling it was a
Murderbot.
mercy to itself.
Don't know. Don't care. I mean,
Murderbot.
I might care if I actually get around to reading the books at some point, but it'll be a little bit.
This episode is not in the books. It's
Yeah,
it's completely new material.
Really?
That's
It
what I
wasn't-
assumed.
It wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. I am also confused as to why it exists because
Yeah.
this episode undoes the last episode says,
It-
"Hey,
it
we need to
literally does.
leave," and then this episode says, "Okay, we need to go right
gotta
back
go
to
back.
where we were before," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, this was just filler. This was just
It
filler."
absolutely was, and you could tell it was filler. It was a fun episode, kind of, because it had a fight in it. There was, although I think the
Like
compilation
the episode
was,
itself was actually kind of good, but it felt like the
Yeah.
previous episode was just an excuse so you could get in this story and then come right back. You're like,
they're just trying to fill it.
what? Yeah,
I think if they had
they're stretching it out too
I don't
much
know.
now.
maybe, I don't
Yeah.
I didn't
I
have
didn't
too
mind
much to
like
complain
it's not
about
the
it.
end of the world because the episode itself was okay. I just think it was really stupid that we said we got to leave and now we got to come and they had the exact same objection in the previous episode. It was like, no, we can't leave because he needs to heal, and it didn't work then. And then in this episode they say, oh no, we need to go back because he needs to heal.
I mean,
and then
he did
goes
pass
back. and
out.
you're like,
He did actually like get worse.
Yeah.
And like,
I think,
yeah, it didn't necessarily bother me. I do agree that it's a little frustrating when it's like, well, let's leave a place, let's go back to the place.
It just
even though it's dangerous.
it felt very
Right.
manufactured. I didn't mind the new content at all. I thought it fit very well in with the rest of the story, and it was a nice tie back to the creature at the end, which is kind of just mentioned in the book in that first scene where he attacks them and then doesn't really come back that much in the story. So I liked that they brought it back. It was kind of fun. And this was another sex joke, but this one actually felt like it had a reason for the story, like and Murderbot's line were like, I think this is no more disgusting than what you guys do. The humans are like, oh, this is so gross, and he's like, you guys are just as gross. And I thought that was
Yeah.
really good. Whereas I didn't like the previous robot dildo joke very much. That was used
and they
twice for
brought
some
it back.
reason.
Yeah, or no, that was last episode, wasn't it? That they brought?
Yeah.
I watched both of them just before the show because I wasn't on last week, so I didn't catch up on
They
it.
believe that 200,000 signatures will save the show, and they're holding
So it does mean so for Watt. Yeah.
to raise money. They're going to make Watt merch by sewing and then auction. They're so desperate. It's so. Can we
Yep.
start a petition to keep the show canceled? Yeah, I'll have to tell Steve to start another petition. Keep the show canceled, please.
heck
Yeah.
I'd
We'll
sign
pay-
It's crazy how
we
passionate
will
they are
auction
about
off other stuff and give you the proceeds in order to keep it canceled. But it's like I will say, you and I were talking about it a little bit right before the show started, and the bit where like the other monster comes out, and you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna be mating on top of the ship. I thought there was a chance that it was going to be like, oh hey, this one's actually going to save us, and they're going to fight. I thought
immediately.
they were going to go. Not that it was also trying.
I
to
immediately knew where it was going.
It was.
It was quite obvious.
Because to the point, what I was saying earlier, it is absolutely consistent with the theme of the show, which is very much going to talk about the idea of sex a lot in ways that aren't like overt and like terribly uncomfortable, but like it's definitely something that they love to have as a focal point. So the fact that they were like, oh, look, they're making love. Is that what you call that? Yes, that fits. That fits.
Yeah.
So and yeah. It was an enjoyable enough episode. It is frustrating that they're going straight back to the place that they know there's danger.
Yeah.
But again, the progression of his ailment was
it didn't seem any different from where it was in the last. Like
he
got
out.
Shot in the leg.
He passed out. Like that was the bit where they're like, oh, we've got to go back because he was like, oh, just when we figured it out, and suddenly boom. So
well, and they'd mentioned that he was having an elevated temperature and stuff like that. But like,
so he's probably got an infection or something like that. Because there was that throwaway line, the throwaway of like, oh yeah, I was just stating a fact, and it was kind of him being like, yeah, your temperature's going up, and it could have been him being angry, but it was him getting an infection probably and having problems. So again, I think that they put it together well enough that like. Yeah. It made sense why they decided to do it. It depends on how they handle it moving forward, but it is kind of interesting to be like. I wish it didn't feel like there was like, oh, are you sure there's nowhere else we could go? Could we go over to the Delta Fall camp instead? Or like, no, we don't want to do that. We know they're over there, but maybe they haven't. Like, it would have been nice if they'd done that much to at least acknowledge the fact that we just left this place because it was too dangerous, but we do need to go back. Are you sure there's no other options? Yes. Okay, then let's go back.
Well, I agree. I think that like. The way that they're completely disregarding everything that he's saying is just—it's
also consistent with the way that they are. They're constantly disregarding.
It's getting kind of annoying though. Like, he's like you. They're all very clearly out of their depth, and they're continuing to be stupid. And they weren't this stupid in the books. They're like, oh, once the crap hit the fan, they listen to him.
Mensa is a slight bit better on some of that, and so is the one dude that's
but except he keeps like flip-flopping. He's like, oh, I'm really scared of him, and then he goes, high five, you did it, and you're like,
oh yeah,
like his character's really confusing me.
Yeah,
it is.
But
also,
like, look, I appreciate that you do this thing, and sure, I'm still a little nervous. She does talk to them about being unsure about him, but she does at least seem to like, no, I think he's on our side. She seems to be figuring it out at least, but.
I will say, I forgot the first section of this episode was the flashback that was showing the crew beforehand, and I really liked it until and I was like, this is really good, and then they have that throwaway line that yet another person was attracted to the worst character in the show, and you're like, she's hideous, but she's like this sex symbol. Every single person in the show is attracted to this weirdo. It's bizarre.
It is the one that makes that confuses me the most in terms of why that's the focus of.
They're really pushing that she's just this wonderful, or that they's this wonderful person, and I hated that conversation. It was actually hard to follow what they were saying because they were using they them pronouns. Yeah. It was hard to figure out what they were actually saying at first.
Wait, I'm sorry. So I did miss it then. What were they saying?
The other lesbian character was also attracted to the they them.
The non-binary one, yeah.
But she turned out the bald lady. The bald lady.
She was talking to.
She got rejected by the bald lady.
The concert, how they showed up to the concert.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
and it's completely unrealistic because like. That's not the kind of person that could be picky, you know?
Yes, that is not.
I will say it surprises me. I won't say it is not, but it is.
We'll chalk it up to weird standards have changed in the future, where back in. Is that true though? I don't know. I've heard that
beauty standards have changed at different times. Yeah. I mean, you look at the heroin chic of the 80s and 90s or whatever versus the Kim Kardashian of now. Like, yeah.
Okay, but Kim Kardashian is ugly. Yeah. Here's the thing: if Sydney Sweeney traveled back in time, I think she would be just as attractive as now. And if she were to go to the future, everyone would think she's attractive. Whereas
we still think Marilyn
Yeah, Marilyn Monroe.
I was gonna say Marilyn Manson. I was like, wait, that's the wrong one. Like Marilyn Monroe I think she will always be considered attractive.
Absolutely.
The distinction is not as big as some people might want to make it out to be, but there is still like a shift of the this.
But I think it's artificial. I know what you're saying, and I think it's an artificial shift. It's Hollywood is specifically trying to push these alternative beauty standards, and it's been ultimately rejected by the common people.
Well, I do think that Hollywood has tried to push some different alternate beauty standards that is not being accepted.
Bella Ramsey, my guy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I am not saying that there's not any of that going on, but I do think that there is some genuine shift that happens outside of what Hollywood is trying to do. I think Hollywood tries to take advantage of.
Yes, I think there is some general shift.
WWHD, Charles.
I don't know what that stands for.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
What
did you bring earlier in the show?
So WWJD. WWJD is what would Jesus do, Charles? Thank you so much for the $1.99. Mark Clark is a wonderful joke, and we will never forgive Charles for his. I don't even know what it was.
So I don't know. I agree with you that's one way you could chalk it up. You could also just chalk it up to everybody, regardless of what the standard, whatever, largely accepted societal beauty standards are. Everybody's going to have their own thing, and maybe they've got a really good. Maybe this person.
It's just crazy because of the comparison. Like her lesbian partner is like miles more attractive, and also like a much nicer person. Like it's not just that she's unattractive, it's that she's insufferable. Like her personality is not likable, and they keep insisting it's the Bella Ramsey thing. We're like, oh no, she's so great, and you're like, it's not just the looks though. She's a not a lovable person.
She's not the most annoying character by any means. Like I don't sorry, it's just not. They just don't stand out, honestly, one way or the other to me. Unfortunately, they're not horrible, but they're not. I don't know.
She is annoying. She's not shown any redeeming qualities, and from what we've seen, she is just annoying. She's ugly. She's given us no reason for us to reasonably believe that she is this individual who's had three people attracted to her.
Maybe it's more about her personality, guys.
But that's my point. Is that her personality is also ugly.
What we've seen about her personality is that she's insufferable.
So, but again, she's Pinley is not the most insufferable character at all. I don't think so.
No, she's not. She's not
I think all of the other characters are interesting.
No, yeah.
They all have like a character, they all have.
The flopper bothers me more.
Okay, he's been inconsistent, but he's more entertaining.
But
okay, actually,
bothered me at all.
There was a lot of. Never mind. I'll later.
No, you're fine. I was
going to say there was a lot of inconsistencies with this episode with people's positions when they were trying to decide what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regarding the when they were in the hopper and
whether or not to trust word about yes,
it was really weird because a not them seemed to be just changing positions and they would argue.
They're
really weird.
That's what we talked
follow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought that up.
Help me understand. Okay, so Barad Dewaj or whatever is the person that was attacked. Who is her lesbian partner? Is her lesbian partner the other one?
She doesn't have a partner. She's single.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's why I was very confused. So Arada,
but she was attracted to the ugly lesbian.
To Pinley, yeah.
To the
I don't remember their names.
Yeah. I've got.
I can't remember any of their names. I remember the weirdo, the Gorgon guy.
Oh, Garathan.
Garathan.
I remember his name, and I remember Mensa, and I can't remember any of the other characters.
Has he getting his name wrong?
I can't remember any of their names.
I've got the cast list pulled up here.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, and I'm also, I'm using names so that I don't have to use pronouns either way. But I've been very confused as to so Arada and the one dude Rati or whatever the flip flopper dude.
Uh-huh.
I
love how we all just immediately. Oh, the guy who's completely inconsistent the entire flip flopping the entire time.
Yeah, and then Pinley was just their own thing, separate, and decided to jump into that as a triple, right? Is that all there was? For some reason, I wasn't. I thought that Bardwaj or whatever the name is did have another partner, but I didn't.
No, because the first scene that you see her in is when she's getting attacked by the worm, but she's with the other lesbian couple. So you think like, oh, it's confusing because she was like paired up initially, but it's with the other person.
And it was with Harada, the one that was in a relationship with the dude, but now they're in the trio. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I was a little confused, because I thought that there was like conversations about Bardwaj having another relationship as well. And,
in the past, there because
Okay, it's just in the past, not during the time of the show. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it's not.
Well,
it's not
anyway. But yeah.
I mean, I think the show's pretty good. I mean, they're pretty minor complaints. I'm pretty entertained. I'm looking forward to doing it. I think.
I will restate what I said last week, though, or 2 weeks ago about David Asmalchin. I wish that they would cast him as the new Snape.
The more I see him in this show, I think that's a really good call.
This is me coming from a position where
you're talking about Garathan?
Yeah, Garathan.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
he's very slimy. He's a slimy guy.
I think he can play that bit really well, especially because people are so attached to the Alan Rickman version of it. I think that he would be a good shift for that. And me being the most leftist one on here, even though it's cringe to try to say that I'm anything like that. But anyway, to not that I'm necessarily all that mad at Papa Isidu's casting. I do think it's kind of weird if you're gonna race swap somebody else, but fine. But this guy is he would be so much
perfect.
Better. He'd be so good.
Perfect.
I made the mistake of leaving the last. What?
Aren't they going to recast Snape?
It's been rumored that Papa Isidu's
I don't think anything's. I don't think anything's.
It's not confirmed yet, but
yeah.
We all know you're a card-carrying commie, Bearded.
You know it, yeah.
Nice.
All about that anti-nuclear family going on there.
Yeah, he's a communist. I made the mistake of leaving the window open and absent-mindedly scrolling through X, and I came across a meme that I'm not proud of. But it's funny.
I'm curious now.
Okay, just a slight bit of a content warning. It's a dirty joke, guys. But it's John McCain's grave after hearing about Trump bombing Iran.
I will also say I finally finished since we brought up Bella Ramsey, I figure I'll toss it in there. I finally finished watching the last
season 2.
Season 2. So
I didn't.
It's one of those things where it's working well enough for me, having not played the games. I really hate listening to the after stuff with the one guy.
It makes it so much worse.
It's a problem, and I'm like, I don't know if love is the problem, but I see what you're trying to say.
See you next week, Justin.
I don't like the way that you're approaching it, but I do think that like the story has been justifying the concept of taking things too far as a problem, and so I'm curious to see how this goes.
Right,
I can see why people.
I like the idea of the story. Again, like I don't think killing Joel off is a horrible narrative decision.
And
but
even
I think
Ellie, regardless of if it's in the game or in the thing, painting Ellie becoming a problem because she goes to that same level of vengeance that Abby had caused Joel to die.
And I think there is a really good story to tell there. I don't hate the idea of the story. It's literally just the casting that ruins it all for me. Like you have to like the character first before you see their descent into darkness. Like you like Walter White. Okay.
Yeah.
He starts off with trying to provide for his family, and then you realize, oh, that was never the case. Like he
lost sight of that.
You have to like the character first in order for this kind of story to work. And she's just so supremely unlikable, it doesn't work.
I don't know if it's just the acting though. I don't think that helps, but I think it's more the writing that like
it's both. It's absolutely both.
It is both. Because I never played the game, so I don't know.
They're writing her to be insufferable, and her acting is really bad.
Yeah, they didn't. I will say episode 6, so the previous episode that showed the flashback, made me understand her the state she was in episode 1 a little bit better, but she's still like honestly, it made it almost work, except that it was just so insufferable, and we sat so long with her being a petty 16-year-old when she's supposed to be a 19-year-old. And even if you knew kind of what it was about, you could kind of understand that it was probably about that situation, about the fact she was just so petty. And having seen the way that it went down, and that it was more than just, hey, you lied to me, but you lied to me and you also lied here, and I can see how you were justifying this and trying, like, the stuff with the husband that he killed or whatever, like that made it almost for me pretty well. But again, it still makes you like, I still don't quite like Ellie enough to be totally behind her, So I don't know.
And
and like I know this is kind of like it's consistent with the character, but no, when there's a big wave coming at you, you don't turn sideways against it. That's a bad idea. And when she was about to take a shot at the people on the pier with a pistol from that distance, I'm like, no, you are not likely to hit accurately, especially two, let alone just the two that you thought there were at that point. That was a dumb thought she had that luckily she didn't.
I didn't even watch that episode, but it sounds really dumb.
It was just a little frustrating, but it's.
Did I make it? I got 2 episodes in and I couldn't go on, right? Was it the second episode where Joel dies?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The end of the second episode, he dies.
I might have watched the one after that. Oh no, I don't know.
Episode 6 is the one where they do all of the flashbacks of her birthdays, which, like, that one actually I enjoyed it for the most part. It was pretty good.
Sure.
But anyway, sorry, you guys were.
I think we agreed as well that was the one that was the least bad. It was.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was an all right episode
because you got to see her being I think she
was less insufferable in that episode.
She was so much less insufferable. She was a little insufferable, but
is that this week?
She was actually supposed to be 16 in those episodes, so it was a little bit understandable.
Yeah.
But they make her a little too chaotic to be likable. That's the thing. She's too chaotic to be likable. So,
well,
I'll probably be catching Ironheart just because I.
So
Jared's going to be busy watching season 4 of The Bear, and so will I. So I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not watching Ironheart.
I'll watch it and tell you guys how bad it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Ironheart, is that the like Transformer looking?
No, it's
one?
It's the knockoff Iron Man from
Iron Man. Sorry, not Transformer. That's what I meant. Like War Machine, like Iron Man, sort of.
Yeah.
I'm
not excited about it. I'm not really hopeful for it. I expect it's going to land because they're also doing it 3 in 1 week and then 3 the next week. So they're like they're mostly dumping it. So I expect it to be like Echo. Not as bad as it seemed like it might end up being, but certainly not good and not really worth it. But there might be a couple of things there that might be kind of enjoyable to watch.
I don't think it's going to be enjoyable at all. It's just going to be the woke.
Yeah,
Marvel,
probably.
From what I've seen. And my biggest issue with her is that she's completely opposite of Iron Man. She's supposed to be the new Iron Man, but she's complete opposite. Yeah. She has not earned anything, and she from the trailers you can clearly see that she is not seeking any sort of righteous cause.
She wants to be she doesn't want to be a hero. She wants to be iconic.
She
is what's that princess, the one girl who became a princess but then decided she didn't want to be princess? Who's that one chick? There was who married King Charles, Prince Charles.
Oh,
in politics.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
Yeah,
sorry. In real life,
Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle.
I was trying to think of like some. I was like the princess and the pea.
My bad.
Okay, so as she tells it, it wasn't her choice.
The Swan Princess.
To not be a princess. So.
Well, what I understand from Meghan Markle is that she wanted to be princess. She was a Disney. Not a Disney. An actress who's
Disney princess.
She's an actress who's treated like a princess, essentially, but then she actually got the opportunity to become a princess, and she hated it. So she's been searching for to be seen as a princess without actually being a princess. And I see Ironheart is doing the same thing, where she wants to be seen as the next Iron Man, and the writers and everybody wants her to be seen as that.
I wonder. It sounds like that might actually be kind of the. I don't know, the little bit that I gathered, it seems like they're going to show her getting into trouble because she's pushing too hard, kind of thing, and not doing the right things to get there. So I don't know if it's necessarily like painting her as a good person, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
If that's her character flaw, I'm down. If they acknowledge, hey, she is not in this for
she
being
won't have
a hero.
any flaws.
I don't know if they'll.
I don't think she's going to have any flaws.
I don't know if they'll give it quite the umph that it could do in calling it a full character flaw, but I think that will be like a thing that gets her into trouble, because it seems like she's doing shady things and gets in trouble with the shady people that she's doing shady things with. Is kind of the way that I'm picking up on what other people are saying, analyzing it, and this, that, and the other. So we'll see. I don't necessarily expect it to be well done in a way that's going to like be like, oh wow, that's a really cool story that they told about the problems of just wanting to be an icon rather than actually trying to do the right thing. But I don't think, but I do think that will be present anyway, if that makes some sense. You know, depending on how you want to read out of it.
It could be present, but I don't know. The writers might not acknowledge it. Like, I agree that it could be there.
And I could see how that'd be frustrating if they don't at least like if they're not willing to actually point that out as a problem, you know. So that's why I'm not expecting it to point that out as a problem. I am expecting it to kind of end up like you're thinking. I just think that I might enjoy some of the journey to get there. Like, there might be some interesting stuff.
I think it'll be comparable to when in The Mandalorian, when they had the society with no guns and then they had to bring in the people with guns. It clearly shows the issue with that ideology, but the episode itself is trying to paint in a picture of, oh, look at this wonderful world where we don't have guns.
I could see that.
So the writers,
that's a good
yeah.
They'll Charles is the wordsmith,
so are we going to get Jack Black and Lizzo in this series then?
I hope
I'll watch it.
So baby, if Jack Black and Lizzo are in this, I'm watching Ironheart, man.
Hey, as long as you also
completely changed my mind.
As long as you also get Christopher. Oh, what's his? Oh shoot! Why am I forgetting his name?
Christopher Reeves.
No,
they're gonna have an AI Christopher Reeves in Ironheart.
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown.
Who plays Doc Brown?
Shoot, what is it?
It is Christopher.
It's not Walken. That's the name that's coming to my head, but it's not Christopher Walken.
The guy from Clue.
Shoot,
Christopher Lloyd.
There you go.
Christopher
Lloyd. There you go. I got it first.
As long as they also have Christopher Lloyd in it, fine. Because he was the best part, even though his bit kind of also got a little goofy. But like it was fun to see him. You know.
Yeah, his character is awful.
Yeah, that was not great. But
is Christopher Lloyd still alive?
I think he is.
He's not dead. He's still alive. He's 86, man.
Yeah, he's old.
I like him.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is this? I don't have the heart to catch up on anything I've missed since bowing. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was good. Thunderbolts was actually very good. Like, it may not be for everybody, so you guys might not love it, but I really liked it.
I've been meaning to check it out. It looks like something I might enjoy because from what I've heard, it's an all right. It's not iconic.
And like
we all know superheroes should strive to be iconic, not all right.
Not good, but not like doing good, but being iconic.
Yeah. Iconic is
iconic is earned. Okay.
Iconic is a natural consequence of being a hero. It is not but like.
Yeah. So
it's okay. It's like okay, never mind.
Oh, please give us another analogy, Charles.
I was gonna say
no, don't say it.
It's like Jesus. It's like Jesus. And we believe that
like
when
Jesus?
Okay, now maybe this
like
is gonna hit
he's
for everybody,
iconic,
but no, that he strived to be the savior, but did not seek the glory. Yet because he strived to be the savior, he received the glory anyways.
Yeah. I do see your parallel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus was iconic. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas Lucifer sought glory.
Yeah. Lucifer was Ironheart in this situation.
That's what you're worried about. Yeah,
He wanted the glory for himself.
The ideology. He wanted.
Young
he
Han
chose to
Solo.
be the
Han Solo
savior.
is in Ironheart too. So.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to remember. Is it
yeah.
that he's in? Yeah. So,
Has he been in anything since Solo? I actually thought he's not the worst part of that movie.
I don't
hate Solo.
like that movie, but the getting his name thing was the dumbest thing.
That was really dumb.
It was dumb him speaking Shriwook as well, but I could have rolled with that because it was such a small little bit.
Yeah.
If they had also not tried to do the shoehorning in him getting his name and like every other iconic thing about him all in one movie.
Yeah.
In the span of like a week.
Yes.
Yeah, that was honestly the thing that I complained about the most from that movie is you're alone, so you're Han Solo. No. I could actually end up liking that movie if it wasn't for that bit.
That bit is really dumb.
It wouldn't have been great. I think they could have done it a lot better, but oh man, that was so dumb. Now, I'm also really frustrated because that one becomes the poster child for like, oh, nobody wants any solo non trilogy movies because that one did poorly. And it's like, well, honestly, the only reason it was as expensive as it was is because they reshot 80% of the movie after they decided that Lord and Miller weren't doing what they wanted, and they had to.
Man, it would have been so interesting to see their version of the movie.
And it came out like a week or 2 weeks or whatever after Infinity War. So it's like, yeah, you shot it in the foot in 3 different ways. It's not that movie's fault that it was received so poorly. Was it a great movie? No, it couldn't overcome all those things. Honestly, even if it had been great, it would have had a lot to overcome.
Yeah,
but it was better than the performance of it. If you look at its box office compared to its budget, makes it look. Because again, if you cut its budget in half because it was shot twice, and then you actually release it with a little bit of breathing room from another huge gargantuan movie, it might have done okay. But anyway.
So the last thing we got to talk about is Foundation.
I actually might cut out because I need to not be in the Foundation, not because I'm worried about spoilers, but I actually have some shopping to do, and I have nothing to add about Foundation. Yeah. All I do is just take us off on tangents, which can be fun, but
yeah. All right. We'll see.
Anyway, I'm going to be out here. You should be here next week, but
okay. See you next week, man.
Awesome. It was great having you.
Great to chat with you. Work on your analogies and stuff a little bit, but I think you'll be all right.
I thought I only had one bad one. I thought the rest were bangers.
They were fine. I just had to give you a bad time about that one.
It was a pretty bad one, I suppose.
I even got where you were going with it, but it was a bad choice. All right, see you guys.
All right, I'll see you.
Just the official position of Best Jen is that Hitler was a bad guy. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, so Jared, you're almost done with season 1 of Foundation. You're on episode 9.
So I was trying to finish it just to make sure that
I watched the first 3 episodes.
Context.
And Charles watched the first 1 episode.
Yes.
It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. I don't think it's a bad show. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
The VFX are amazing. The acting is, for the most part, really good. There was one guy's performance that was that was really weird. That was a weird delivery.
Have you gotten to the girl yet on Terminus?
She was in episode 3, and she's not great at acting.
I was just going to say, she's probably one of the weakest links in my opinion.
Also, man, her haircut is just not doing her any favors. They didn't want to fully commit and do the lesbian sci-fi half shave half the head thing, and so they did both sides and then gave her a hat.
Is that the chick from the very beginning who touches the ghost well or something?
Yeah.
I did not. I immediately did not like that character.
Salvor
Harding.
Is she in it a lot?
Well, he is a huge part of the books.
So that's the part where you're saying
there's a gender
completely
swap. She's gender swapped, and her mother is gender swapped. I don't think I'm not supposed to know that's her kid. But what's the other? What's her name? No, it's not Hal. Who's the everything is special in the first 2 episodes lady? Foundation. They gender swapped Salvor Harding, and they gender swapped Gal. I was like, it's not Hal. Gal Dornick is supposed to be a man as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the math girl from the beginning, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I immediately assumed that was mother and daughter.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that supposed to be a huge reveal?
It just hasn't been revealed yet. I don't know if they play it off as a huge reveal.
I immediately assumed because.
They're both gender swapped. I don't think it necessarily hurts Gal's story. I think it's fine. Definitely hurts Salvor's story. And also she's not great.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. Like it looks really good. It looks phenomenal. And it's made with a fraction of the budget that the Wheel of Time has.
It looks so good.
And it looks miles better than the Wheel of Time. And they're arguably, I think they have to do more special effects in this show than they have to do for Wheel of Time.
Oh, I can't imagine they wouldn't have to.
Except they're intelligent with their budget and they're actually making it work. It looks fantastic.
Absolutely.
The acting for the most part is pretty good. Lee Pace is phenomenal. Jared Harris is phenomenal. I think he's pretty good casting for Harry Seldon as well. The robot lady, which Charles doesn't know about yet, she's great. She's really great. And all three versions of Lee Pace's character are really great.
Yeah, Brother Don.
I even liked Gal. I even liked Lou, I think her name is. I thought she was fine. It is a horrible adaptation. It's literally, on the same level as the Wheel of Time. It's an absolute abomination. I don't know why they called this Foundation. They took just the general premise of the world's going to end and we're trying to save it by doing a Foundation thing. And nothing, it's completely unrecognizable. It's like I said before, the whole psychohistory stuff. They do not understand what psychohistory is. They keep saying it, and at first in like episode 1, they had a line where it was like, "Oh wait, no, they got it right," and then they absolutely get it wrong. They said, "Oh, psychohistory, it's good at predicting mass behavior, but not individual behavior."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes," and then the next sentence was, "And that means individuals are even more powerful because we don't know what they're going to do, so they can change everything." And you're like, but then none of psychohistory would ever work. It's completely contradictory. The premise is literally fighting itself because they insisted on making these gender swapped characters special. They gave them a sixth sense. They can.
I don't know what you're gonna bring up.
They gave them magic.
Yeah.
Which, granted, does happen. Like 5 books later in the series, there is a character who's introduced who has this intuition power, and he keeps getting lucky, and he keeps feeling when things are going to happen, and it destroys Harry Seldon's plans. Like 4 books down the line, though, you can't subvert the story before you've told it.
Yeah, the episode I just watched goes a lot more into that, Alan.
It completely contradicts itself. Because psychohistory can't predict the actions of an individual. That means that one individual can change the world. I have the quote. I haven't gotten to this in the show yet, but I pulled up the quote. It is Harry, and it's Harry Seldon saying the line, "An entire galaxy can pivot around the actions of an individual." No, that is antithetical to the premise of Foundation.
Yeah.
And I think that you could still have like I don't hate the TV show though. Like it's kind of interesting, and I think there's a good story to be told there, and like they're doing some really cool world building stuff that has nothing to do with Foundation. Not Terminus, but Gal's
Transport?
home planet is like, oh, math is
Oh, yeah.
evil. It's completely ridiculous. Like Gal's character is, I just got my PhD and now I'm gonna go and talk. He's actually writing a biography on Harry Seldon, and he gets roped up in his scheme, and and it's horrible for him. But they make it like it's so frustrating because I don't hate the show, but it is an abomination of an adaptation, and it doesn't, like, you could literally could have just named this any other thing, and I maybe would have liked it.
Be inspired by Foundation.
And you don't gain anything by calling this Foundation, because the only people I've talked to who have read Isaac Asimov are like, no, screw that show. So you don't gain support from the fan base by connecting it to an already existing IP.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting off on the wrong foot when, it might, I don't know, like I'm going to have to completely shut off my brain to enjoy the show.
Yeah,
it's very frustrating.
I think it's good, and literally, like every time I watch it, I'm like, "Dang, that's just gorgeous."
It looks so freaking good
until Salvor comes on, and then I'm like, "Oh man, she's so bad at acting."
She's
And then
awful.
but then I'm like, "Okay, all right."
And it's the same thing. It's the Murderbot thing in episode 3. Her boyfriend shows up, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's really cool." Oh, he's dating her. Why does the show insist on telling me that this woman is attractive? It insists upon itself. Okay, you guys have seen the Family Guy meme?
No, I don't think so.
It's a good one. Apple mutilated a sci-fi adaptation? No way. Like the stuff that they're adding, like they're doing some really, really cool stuff. I like a lot of the world building stuff that is completely absent from the books, and I don't hate it. Yeah. But it's just like it doesn't.
Is the Emperor guy absent in the books? Because I really liked the succession of the Emperor. How they have like it's cloning of this.
I haven't.
Guy.
So I've only read the first book. I need to read the rest of them. But people keep telling me to read other stuff. So I need to get to Foundation and Empire. So the problem is, the Empire isn't in the first book. It's at the beginning, and then they go off, do Foundation, and Foundation is solving problems by themselves. And then the second book is called Foundation and Empire, and that's when they meet back up, and you hear what's been going on with the Empire. So. This whole secession, I think that's actually kind of book accurate. I don't know because I haven't gotten to that point in the books.
I think it's cool, the idea that the Emperor is just clonings of this one great emperor that they had, I guess. And I imagine that the way it would work is they grow up. The kid would become the dusk would become day, and then day would be Wait, no, sorry.
Yeah,
Dawn
that's what's happening. Yeah,
yes. I think that's really cool. That's really cool.
It's a really cool concept. I don't know if that's taken from the books or not, but they're doing some really cool world building stuff. There's a lot of stuff I like about the show, it's like shooting itself in the face by calling itself Foundation because it has nothing to do with Foundation.
Yep.
And they're making the vault a mystery box, and it's not. It's like Harry Seldon goes to Terminus and he builds the vault and then dies, and then it opens like every 100 years and says, hey, there's a problem happening. If my calculations were correct, this is the problem that you're currently experiencing, and this is how you need to figure out how to solve the problem. And then it's about the characters who lived figuring out how to solve the problem. And then that's the end of the story. And then the book jumps forward another 100 years. And the vault opens again and says, okay, you guys did a good job last time. If my calculations are still correct, this is the new problem you're facing. And here's the things that can help you.
So the show, I guess, follows. I thought the show was going to be following him and the woman creating Foundation. But I guess the show,
that's not what the book's about.
Story. So the book is about... I guess you're right. So I guess the book is about
every section skips 100 years, or 50 or 100 years. It just it skips forward.
That's really
and everyone
cool.
says, "Oh, it's unfilmable." No, you can they did it with House of Dragon. You can do time jumps in stories like this. You can do it in Into the West. You can do time jump. That's literally a generational story. It's structured almost identically to what they do in Foundation. Go watch Into the West and then tell me that Foundation is unfilmable. No, Salty, you should finish reading the book. It's really good. The second half is better than the first half. I like the first half too, but and I'm planning on reading the rest of them. It's so frustrating. I just want a dwarf elf romance in a biracial caper. Yeah. It's quite frustrating. Because I think there's a lot to like about the show, and I hate all of it.
Just because it's called Foundation.
And it wouldn't be hard to actually adapt Foundation. It wouldn't. It would be quite easy, and it would be a really cool show.
Oh yeah.
And their turn, like I can't believe they turned it into a mystery box, because it's kind of a mystery, because you don't know what he's going to say when the vault opens. But you know it's going to help you. Like they know what the mystery box is. They just don't know the information that's inside it. And now it's like, oh, it existed before we even got here. So obviously Harry Seldon hasn't died. And they kill him off in the second episode. I was like, I almost puked. I was like, this is so freaking ridiculous. It's obviously some kind of fake out, because otherwise you really wouldn't. I mean, maybe it is, and maybe it has absolutely nothing to do with Foundation, but
no, he really did.
It's so dumb.
I'm gonna pull Michael Scott.
So incredibly dumb, and it could be a really good show. And if it was called some other thing, if it was called, Legacy of Humanity or something like that,
yeah.
I've been enjoying watching it, but
it's not terrible.
When you keep going to the, because they kind of lead you on with certain, they kind of do. I mean, it's not the best, adaptation of, okay, like, all right, we're gonna lead you on this cliffhanger, and then the next episode you're like, oh, okay, good, I got the answer to the cliffhanger or whatever. But like, it's all right. I want to definitely keep watching it to try to figure out kind of what it all means. And yeah, there's definitely got the mystery box, and I think that's definitely kind of what's keeping me in, is that there's so many questions that I just have no idea where they're going with. Like,
and that's fine. Write a mystery box sci-fi show and don't call it Foundation. But if you're doing Foundation, it's not a mystery. It's not a mystery box. It's a problem-solving book. It says, "Hey, here's a problem. How are we going to solve it?" And what's funny, what's super funny, is half of the time the answer to the Seldon crisis that they're facing is do nothing, and the problem will solve itself. And any action you take to try and solve the problem will make it worse. It's a fascinating book. It's really, really good. But of course, Salvor Harding is just antithetical to his character from the books. Why does gender swapping him make the character better? It doesn't. Makes the character way worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really change Gal's story. I think it's fine. But
but it shows a disrespect.
Salty, you can be toxic anytime you want, bud. Thanks for the $2 enabling your toxic behavior. Yeah. Have you watched Foundation? I don't. You probably. It's from the looks of it, you'd stayed away. And that's why I've stayed away for so long, is because I saw that line in the trailers saying the opposite of what the book said. An entire galaxy can pivot around the actions of an individual. Here's the thing, though. I keep saying, like, if it weren't called Foundation, I might like the show better, which is probably true. But even ignoring the books, it's still contradicting itself. It's saying we developed a science that can predict the future by studying the behavior of the masses. But also, one person could throw a wrench in the entire system and change everything. Okay, then your science is worthless. It doesn't work.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, Apple is miss versus hit. Yeah.
I think we've generally enjoyed much of what Apple has been able to offer. But
Yeah, you haven't watched For All Mankind yet.
Some good ones.
no, I haven't.
Dude, the first season is so phenomenal, and then it just gets so woke, and you're like, the first season is so good. It's like what they tried to do with Ender's Game. This is way worse. Actually, Ender's Game is actually a very faithful adaptation, and that's the problem, because it turned the entire movie into a montage and removed all of the human elements from it. They tried to keep everything in, and it just doesn't work as a movie. I just finished.
I think it was a good attempt, though.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. They cut the backstory, the subtext. They kept in a lot of the stuff that happened, but you just couldn't focus on any of it. And the most important part was the humanity behind the things that are happening. Like half of the book takes place inside of Ender's head. It cut, yes. It cut the Big Brother backstory, which is key. Yes, absolutely. I'm just saying but that movie didn't do anything that contradicted the books. It had to leave a ton of it out, but it didn't say, it didn't say Ender believed that when you truly know someone, you hate them, which is the you guys need to okay. Sorry, it's fresh in my mind because I'm reading the books. Okay,
I read the first book.
The theme
Ender's
of
Game.
the entire series is Ender's philosophy was to beat your enemy, you have to know them, and you you have to fully know them. You have to understand everything about that person in order to beat them. But also, when you get to the point where you fully understand them, you can't help but love that person. And that's the whole theme with the buggers. Like he finally understands how they work. And
that's why the end.
That's why he's able to defeat them, but he also loves them, and he doesn't realize he killed them all.
Yeah,
and that's why the next books are so good, because he's trying to atone for doing a genocide and trying to find a home for the Hive Queen, and it's beautiful. I just finished, so I finished the Vor game, and I know I was supposed to start Deathstalker, but I needed a shorter book. That one was like 20 hours or 18, and I needed a shorter one for the drive. I needed a shorter book for the drive I was doing, and so I started Shadow of the Giant, which is the fourth book in the Ender's Shadow series. It's the last of the main story. There are future books that tie both of them together again. It was beautiful. It's the best one in the Shadow series yet. Shadow of the Giant is phenomenal. And it keeps... And I realized while I was reading it, to make a good Ender's Game adaptation, it's tricky, but you could do it. It needs to be a TV show, and you have to do both of them together. You have to do Ender's Shadow and Ender's Game, and that's kind of what that's what the author has said about the first books. But I think you need to do that with the whole series, and it could actually work really well by telling the first season can be Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow told together. And then the second season is starting Ender's story, which happens thousands of years in the future, while also telling Bean's story, which happens directly after Ender's Game. And so you have to, from season 1, you have to tell a split story that takes place on 2 different timelines. And then by the end of season 4, the timelines merge. And then you see, oh, that's why all of the stuff I was seeing with Ender's story, it all ties together and it'll make sense. Because you'll see stuff from Ender's story where you'll get like glimpses, and it would work really well. You get glimpses of, you'd get some spoilers for the Bean story. And you like, oh, but I wonder how that happens. You're like, wait, this person turned into that and did this? And you're like, but that doesn't make sense. And then so you're slowly getting it. You're getting the backstory with Bean fighting. So Bean stays behind and he fights on Earth, and with Andrew's brother Peter, and they're trying to make Earth united under one government so that they can fend off against any other future alien attacks. And then Ender, travels at light speed and remains a little boy. And
for thousands of years,
thousands and thousands of years in the future, because of relativity, he's seeing like the effects of that, and it could work really well. And then I've yet to read the book that ties them both together, but it could be really good. It would take, they could do it like 6 seasons of television, and it could be incredible. It could be so freaking good.
I'd have to read the rest of the books to agree with you, but you're probably right. I think that could be good.
And you'd have to leave little bits out. You might have to move some things around in the books so that you don't spoil Bean's storyline as much, because it's a prequel. But you can't just tell his and then tell Ender's later, right? Because you'd like the halfway through the TV show, your characters would just shift, Like, I think they need to be told simultaneously. And so you'd be getting glimpses of, oh, hey, this is what Bean's future the future he created could look like. It still has problems. And then you get kind of, it'd be kind of like, reading like the Stormlight Archive. Like you're getting the story, and then every once in a while you get a flashback and it fills in like your knowledge gaps. It could work really well. I want to see an Enderverse TV series, and it would be phenomenal. So the only ones I have left are, because I just finished the core, I finished the core series of Ender a while back, and I just finished the core series of Bean a while back. And now the only ones I have left are the ones that tie the 2 series together. So I need to read Shadows in Flight, that continues Bean's story, and then Ender in Exile is a retcon that replaces the last chapter of Ender's Game, because that one was written so far ago that there's some inconsistencies. And then there's The Last Shadow, which is the book that ties both of them together, which I'm really excited to read. But I have to read Deathstalker first. I know. Okay. So I'm really excited for Ender's Game.
I've got to
bawled my eyes out to the ending of Shadow of the Giant. It was phenomenal.
I've got to start
David
reading.
already started Wheel of Time.
Reread.
David just finished book 5. He's been speeding through them. Oh, for the 3rd time. Got it. I didn't read the full comment. So, I will read Deathstalker. I'm tempted to just pump out these last 3 Ender books before I start it. But I've been doing it a lot. So, Foundation. You guys are going to keep watching, right?
Yeah, I'll probably keep watching.
So season 3 starts. Season 3 starts on July 11th.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm trying to do it as well. I'm like, get ready for a new season.
You're also getting the Bear this week. Yes. Bear season 4. The Bear season 4.
Woo! I still haven't gone back to it. I need to. I know.
But the other show that's popping up, the Invasion, is getting a season 2 in August on Apple TV, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, this doesn't look half bad. But I haven't seen season 1. It's another sci-fi. For some reason, Apple only does sci-fi. They don't have a single fantasy show. #save Watt.
I mean, unless you count Mythic Quest as a fantasy show.
That's a workplace comedy. What are you...
I know. I'm just trying to be funny because it's kind of, fantasy game, I guess. But
I should go back and finish. But man, the announcement that it was canceled kind of shot my enthusiasm for watching that show in the foot, which sucks.
I know
Pretty good.
I didn't
But
realize it was canceled either.
I know people have said that seasons like 3 and 4 were dumb, but I haven't gotten to the dumb part yet. So maybe it deserved cancellation. It's kind of a bummer though because I was really liking
Yeah, it's
it.
fun.
So next week, more Murderbot and the Bear and Ironheart, which I will not be watching. And then more Murderbot, and then Foundation Season 3 if we're all caught up. But man, it's such a frustrating show. I really want to like it, and I just like, ugh. So you're further in though. Does it get better? Or does it stay the same?
I don't know.
I'm just like adaptation aside, is it the same kind of quality, or does Salvor get way more insufferable?
Salvor's the whole thing with Salvor is not my favorite, but like the rest of it's okay. I really like this stuff with Empire, and I don't know how I feel about what's going on with Gale at the moment, so we'll see in the next maybe couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gale actually she's been doing a pretty good job as an actress. I think she plays a pretty good character.
Yeah, no, I think she's doing great at acting.
Definitely, the only thing is just watching it and being like, oh, like Salvor, her acting is just awful. There's some stuff that they try to do with it's kind of like a pirate kind of theme, like a pirate like
Pirates.
It's not, they're not really pirates. Without going into like too much of the spoilers for Charles and stuff like that, like it's basically like this group of like fighters kind of get involved. And so there's this plot that's kind of revolving around them and trying to get revenge for something that occurs earlier in the season. And so,
oh no, sorry, I just peeked ahead. Is the last episode of the show called The First Crisis?
I didn't see, but I think this is kind of getting to either this is like the start of the first crisis in these last couple episodes.
Episode 9 is the first crisis. So episode 9 is the second chapter of the book.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's why it's not Foundation yet, man, because we haven't gotten to it yet.
No. It's not Foundation because it's not Foundation. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not Foundation because it completely contradicts the core principles of the book.
Yeah, but no. So I think like I've enjoyed watching it, but there's definitely been a couple times where I'm like, I'm not really enjoying this particular story with like Salvor and her. Like there were supposed to be some pretty emotional parts that happened with her character and some of her family and stuff like that, and like I was literally like,
don't care.
Okay. So, I mean, I just don't think it's been quite as successful at really pulling me in to that story, that particular story. But the other portions of the episodes I've been enjoying, especially with Empire. I
mean, Lee Pace is so good in it.
Yeah. And every time I'm just like, man, this is just so beautiful. Like all of their SFX are just amazing.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It's such an amazing show. Good looking.
There have been one or two times where I was like, okay, the effects were a little off there. Like you can kind of tell it was maybe a green screen or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, it's been really impressive, and I've enjoyed the story. But we'll see where it goes with Salvor.
Wait, is it? Oh, it's a season 3. Okay. There's only 2 seasons, right? Or is it 3?
Yeah, there's 2.
Season
there's
3
seasons.
is dropping right now. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. We shall see. It really is gorgeous, though. Like, it looks so good. The episode 1, the shot of them traveling through space, where like the ship like had like it created a black hole or whatever, and like
and then it has like the dust that comes kind of like
so
trails
good
behind it. It's so gorgeous. Yeah,
they're like some of the effects are just incredible. And it's so funny to just directly compare it to Wheel of Time because it's so bad. Anyway, all right. Yeah. Well, that's the show. Do you guys have anything else to talk about?
Not really.
Frustrating. So incredibly frustrating the show is.
Unless we want to talk about how awesome Helldiver is.
I know you're enjoying it.
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I got it, and I would legitimately serve a mission for 2 years trying to convert people to Helldiver. Like, it's a good game.
Wow.
I finally have like a week of time on my hands that I can actually get work done and make videos again.
Yeah, then don't get Helldiver. It'll take your time. I find myself.
It's
a pretty fun one.
We'll try and schedule a Conan too next week. So.
I gotta get back on the Conan.
Monday or Tuesday. Let's do that. Anyway, all right. We'll see you guys next week. With more Helldivers,
for sure.
More Murderbot, and I am getting delirious because
as usual
heat stroke. So
by the end of
Well, have a good night.
Shouldn't be great. Well, yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, this show's been a little bit chaotic and less refined, and that's my fault. And
I don't know what you're talking about.
Any less than usual?
Oh, it was the H. Yeah, mentioning H, and I see what you're talking about.
I'm saying I am not at 100%. I'm at like 60% right now, brain capacity. So we'll see you guys next week. It's been super fun, and bye.
See you guys.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Subscribe to the channel and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining. So please consider joining Patreon and getting your name in the credits with pride.
I'd buy that for $1.